Presley's going to kick us off. A little bit of information about Presley. He's my business partner from like basically the beginning. We started our agency two and a half years ago, and we were in the trenches. I think he's going to share some of the behind the scenes of the trenches and what that looked like for us. We basically started at zero. We met at a mastermind, kind of similar to this one, which is kind of cool. And that's where we decided to partner up and started at zero, scaled our way all the way up to about 105K a month. We've been running right around there with our agency for the past, since like March, yeah.
Like around, yeah.
Yeah. So that's been like a really fun time. And some of you might know me from like my YouTube series, and we decided to throw an event last week. This is our turnout so far, so I appreciate all of you coming. Presley's going to kick us off. A little bit of the flow of the day so you guys have an understanding. Presley's going to kick off. Presley's like the operator, so I kind of like bounce around. I don't know if any of you are like ADHD. That's me. I can't like do anything as far as Slack, responding to people. Like, I'm just not good at that at all. But Presley, on the other hand, I don't know how he does it. He just sits in his room and just like knocks it out. It's crazy. I couldn't do what he does, but we're like the perfect. I'm the positive. He's the positive. I'm the negative. I don't know. However you want to put it.
Probably opposite, but yeah.
Opposites, right? So everything that he's good at, I'm not good at, and vice versa. So it works out really well. But he's going to be going through hiring systems, operations. Hiring systems and operations, which is all stuff that I don't really love and I'm not really good at, but Presley's fantastic at. And honestly, the agency wouldn't work without him and without him implementing these things. So we built our way up to 70K a month without systems. We were up till 4 a.m. every single night. He's probably going to talk about this. Yep. Up at 9 a.m. So we were just like for 2 months straight, basically not sleeping. We had no life outside of our agency. We're like, this isn't going to work. So we scaled back down to like 20K a month. Built systems out. Well, Presley built systems out, and we implemented those systems, and now we're higher, obviously, than 70K a month, and we're able to not be locked into like running an agency all the time because we have systems working for us. So Presley's going to run that, and I'm going to hand it over to him. So have at it, sir.
Thank you, MC. Appreciate it. Welcome, guys. Glad you're here. I'm really excited to talk about this. I literally foam at the mouth talking about systems, so glad to be giving you guys this presentation today. Now, who here is at the point where the work is starting to become overwhelming in their agency? Like, you literally can't go get clients because you have too much stuff on your plate. Decent amount of people. Good show of hands. If that's not you right now, you're probably 1 to 2 clients away from reaching that point. A lot of people underestimate what it actually takes to get to that point. Trust me, it sneaks up on you. So you're going to want to take some notes here. I'm excited for you guys to listen in, but let's get into it. Now, first, let me preface, this is from 2.5 years ago. It's all going to make sense. This picture from high school, because this is actually where I got started with it all. Thank you, Cam, for the intro. As you know, Cam's business partner. I run the back-end operations of both our coaching program and our agency. And I actually started in finance. I thought I was going to go to school to study investment banking. I was enrolled at the Kelley School of Business at Indiana University. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in investment banking, finance. That's what I thought I wanted to do. Until I accidentally stumbled across this, which was helping brands create content, social media, everything like that. And I'm going to explain this transition, how I got into it, in this next slide right here. Now, in high school, my first experience with content was a pretty lackluster trading podcast. About 6 months into watching some YouTube videos, I thought I was an expert, so I started creating content around investing and trading. I also thought I probably couldn't hurt my shots at getting into a good business school. So I literally just started making content around trading, investing, what I was looking at in the market, got a lot of inspiration from guys I looked up to on YouTube. And at its peak, I ran it up to around 1,000 followers, lost some followers over time. I had no idea what it was doing, but that was my first touch of making content online, exploring, making connections. So I knew the opportunity. And so around my junior year, I was looking for internships, right? I wanted some marketing experience. I wanted something. I just wanted something under my belt. I was hungry for more. I wanted to get a taste of what this was all like and what I wanted to do with a career. So there was a hedge fund manager in my town who I reached out to, sent the worst cold email ever. You're going to see it in a couple slides. And somehow he liked me. Somehow something clicked. We got coffee. We hit it off. And my best opportunity to work with him, he wasn't looking for somebody to shadow him. He didn't want an intern. But I saw that he did need help with YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and I saw it as an opportunity to get in, to get some marketing experience, to make a connection that could potentially help me in the future get a job. So that's what it started as. And I wanted to make a little bit of money in high school. So I started helping him with his TikTok account. I started running his social media, grew him a ton. Actually helped him get some clients for his hedge fund, which was crazy because I didn't think TikTok was capable of that for somebody of his age. He's about 34 years old. And then I also started working in a trading startup where I was writing their blog posts, helping with their social media video editing. And so this was my introduction to it in high school. I already knew from the start, social media is extremely powerful. I can help these businesses do it, and it's something I'm good at. So before I even decided to start my agency, leave school, all of that, I already knew there was a path for me in this avenue. So this is the cold email I was talking about, and this is why I always encourage everyone to shoot their shot, even if you don't really know what you're doing. I don't know how well you guys can see this email, but it's not great. I'm talking about myself. I'm telling him how passionate I am about investing, how much I like his content. It's all about me. Not a good example of how you did outreach. But like I said, it struck a chord with him. We got coffee, we hit it off, and he let me try it out. He's like, you want to work for free for me for 2 weeks, help him with my TikTok? Sure. Make some clips. Help me out. Sure enough, I did. Got some views. 2 weeks later, I got hired for about $1,000 a month to start. Wasn't much, but for high school, that was great. And not only that, but now I had a connection that I could go and leverage to get more clients. So this was a really cool start for me. And again, why I always say, shoot your shot, even if you don't really know what you're doing, because you never know what it could lead. And that was the gateway drug that actually got me into all of this, which I'll explain in a bit. And then this was the second outreach message I sent to the startup. The name of the company was Sang Lucci. Now, they had a trading education company, so I was working with companies in this trading investing niche because that's what I wanted experience in. I wanted to break into that after college, so it seemed like the best route. But I wasn't doing anything with finance. It was all on the marketing side, social media. So I was running this company's blog, and this was the outreach message I sent. It was literally just the fact that I had experienced in AP English. Right? There were people sending in full-on resumes with their marketing experience, the companies they worked at. I thought I was qualified because I took AP English and I could write a little bit. And I was actually one of the fourth, I think it was the fourth person that was actually considered. They went through 3 more people before me. That's the only reason they landed on me. We'll give this kid a chance. He's the last resort. Maybe he'll crush it. And I was the only one that was able to do what they were looking for. So interned for 9 months for free before they offered me a position for $2,000 a month. But that was my in. I worked for free for 9 months to get experience working at this company. And once I had that, I was working with this other hedge fund guy, I was working at this startup, and I was getting paid to do so. About $3,000, $4,000 a month in high school. I saw a real future here, and I was like, I know how to help these brands make content, get their voice out online. There's something here. Maybe I still send weird emails like this, and I look like an immature high schooler, but that'll get fixed over time. That was my intro, and that's what got the gears turning, that maybe I could actually turn this into a career, something I could do longer term, full time. Now, as you can see, this was a random screenshot I found in my camera roll, but really helped this hedge fund guy increase his engagement on social media. We were taking clips from his YouTube channel to grow his TikTok. He's on CNBC, Fox News, a bunch of other big media channels as well. So I was helping repurpose that content for TikTok. Again, got some great results, as I mentioned before. And like I said, this is when I started to realize that this was a big need for a lot of people. They had all the business knowledge. They were very good, credible people that knew what they were doing, but they had little to no information or help as far as actually getting that message out on social media. And I got to school around August, September 2022. As I said, I was enrolled at the Kelley School of Business at Indiana University. Thought I wanted to take the finance path. At this point, I was working with a few different clients, helping them with social media. And as soon as I got to Kelley, I just knew it wasn't a good fit for me. I didn't feel like what I wanted to do was aligned with the school and vice versa. I mean, especially after seeing this message on my smart board right here about basically, hey, don't be obsessed. Moderation is key. To me, that sounded like stay average. And after interning for a company for 9 months, busting my ass off on Sunday nights, and my parents were asking what I'm doing in my room for free, I just didn't believe in that because I knew what it took to at least get those first few clients and get people to believe in what I was doing. And so that message didn't align with me. So I was like, you know what? Let's see what else is out there. Let's give this a shot. And sure enough, about the next week after taking this picture, I happened to meet this guy, the guy that introed me, the MC over here, at a business mastermind event. Not too much different than this. I was going because I was a freelancer at the time. I was doing stuff on my own. I was on the verge of dropping out of school, but I wanted to get some other perspective. I wanted to see if I could actually do this, and met entrepreneurs doing way more than me, had full-blown teams, full-blown agencies, and I was blown away, and I saw real potential. And at the end of the night, at the cigar lounge, I was just walking around, meeting some people, and then Cam, who I had met earlier in the day, we reconnected, hit it off for like 2 hours. We actually went back to the hotel to grind out some work. I still had client work that I was finishing because I was doing all the work myself. He had to do the event recap because he wanted to beat the other videographer to getting it out. And 2 weeks later, he's like, you want to run this up together, move to Miami, start an agency? I'm like, let's do it. And that's where it all began. So about 2 months later, I moved to Miami. So this was around October, November. January 2023, went all in, signed a lease in Miami for about 9 months. And this is my apartment. This is me moving in. Didn't really know what to expect, but I saw a vision. I already had some clients under my belt. We were somewhere between 8 and 10K a month at the time, but basically starting from zero together. Those were just my clients that we were bringing in at the time. But I saw a vision. I saw Cam, I saw myself, and I knew we could do some damage. And then upon starting, in the first 4 or 5 months of starting our agency, we started meeting people like crazy in Miami. We were just all out, blitzkrieg. We wanted every single client. We wanted to take over the city, and things started to work out. First 4 or 5 months, this was April to May, as you can see in the screenshot. From April to May, we did $60,000 in a month with our agency in revenue, and this was starting from 8 to 10K a month. We were just so relentless with outreach, reaching out to people, leveraging free work, making connections in our area. We even got a few referrals under our belt. Things were going great. We were meeting these awesome people, working with these big time entrepreneurs that we didn't even know upon moving. Cam and I didn't have a ton of connections when we first got there, but we made it happen. Things were going great until we started hating our lives. These are real pictures I dug up from my camera roll. The last picture was around May when we got invited by a friend of ours that we met in Miami to LA to go to this party. There were a bunch of influencers there. It was a really cool experience. This big mansion, black SUVs parked out in front. And Cam was posting client videos at this event that was supposed to be a vacation, was supposed to be fun. He's posting client videos at 1 in the morning at this event. And that was seriously wrong to us because I had started this business for freedom, and I know he did as well. We wanted something where we could make our own schedules, we could dictate the way we wanted to run our lives. That was not panning out to be the case. And we knew something needed to change when we were up every single night. I have countless pictures in my memories of this. 1:43, 2 o'clock, 3 in the morning, busting out edits every single night just to wake up and do it all over again. It felt like I was trapped in exactly what I was trying to avoid, and it was miserable. We were making money. It was great. We were keeping a lot because we didn't have any employees at the time. But that's exactly why we were on the verge of burnout. We were probably 1 or 2 months away from ending up in the hospital or one of us just saying, you know what, this is too much for me. So after this moment, we needed to change. Now, who right here in this room right here is in that stage right now where you feel burned out, either from too much work or you're just considering, hey, I'm actually doing more work than a 9 to 5 right now. This feels more like a 9 to 9.
Raise your hands high.
We're getting some shy show of hands. Guys, nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing to be ashamed of. Cool. Okay, so about half the room, give or take. Now, this is exactly where we're going to transition to how to get yourself out of that, because it's not a fun place to be. This is where a lot of people, a lot of videographers give up right before they're on the verge of that big breakthrough. And it's really important to know that it's not a problem with your business. Well, it kind of is, but it's not a problem with you. It's a problem the way you set up your business, the way you're running things, the way you're choosing to do your work. It's a choice. Something had to change, and that's exactly what I'm going to cover in these next slides right here. There were 3 massive adjustments after this point that we made that changed the future of our agency forever. So we were no longer hustlers, we were no longer freelancers. That was the identity we had chose, but it was time to choose a different identity because we didn't have to be stuck on that. We thought we did until we made these 3 changes. So pay close attention. These are going to blow your mind a little bit. Also gave us our time back so we could go sign deals like this. Previously, we had been stuck at $2,000 to $5,000 a month as far as retainer goes for clients, and we never thought we would ever cross the 5-figure mark for a single invoice for a single client. And pretty soon after, started receiving invoices for 5 figures plus from clients, which was unheard of to us. We didn't even think we could find people that would pay us this. And because we were able to implement these changes, which I'm about to share, this is what allowed myself and Cam to actually go out and find these super high ticket clients. So not only did they give us our time back, but we were able to 2 and 3x our prices because now we were in control of our business again, and we weren't just focused on editing, designing, doing all the grunt work ourselves. We were actually able to sell these bigger deals. Number one, outsourcing, editing, designing, and client shoots. Now, the handsome young man featured on this slide right here is Danny. He's actually part of our coaching program. He's based in Florida. Wish he could be here today. But Danny is one of our videographers. He helps us with client shoots. In fact, we actually had a client shoot Monday that we weren't even involved with because Danny's based in South Florida. This client was in Naples. He has been completely able to take over the shoots for this client because we've integrated him in our agency. Now he's an essential part of the team. He's able to route back that footage to us. He has a script that he can deliver to the client, and it's an entire working system, which I'll get into later about how that workflow actually works. But Danny is the reason that Cam and I are able to throw this event this week. Danny is the reason that I'm able to make content, bringing new clients into our agency. If it weren't for Danny, probably wouldn't be here today. Cam would probably be on the road somewhere, traveling, doing client shoots, and it would be a nightmare. Same thing goes for the editing, which we'll get into in a second as well. Cam and I don't edit client videos anymore. We have an entire department dedicated to client editing, so as soon as the videographer sends footage back, we're able to route it back to the editors, and we know it's going to get done well, and even better than Cam and I could ever do it because we found really talented people to manage that department. Same exact thing goes with thumbnail designs. Because we have a YouTube agency, we're not doing thumbnail designs ourselves. We're taking the pictures, but we're not responsible for actually putting the text on the pictures or anything like that. And shout out Lane. Lane is actually an editor for our agency as well. He's been a really big part of helping out with the efforts over there. We have people like Lane, Will, who I'm going to talk about here in a second, who's our head of content, that are able to crush fulfillment. So Cam can focus on marketing and sales. I can focus on making content, getting clients for our agency, and also focus on scripting, strategy, and ideation for our clients, which in my opinion is what I'm best at. And so in putting other people in a position to succeed and doing the things that I don't want to do, I can focus on the stuff I'm best at. And that ultimately is what makes an agency go round, is not trying to be every hat in the business, not trying to wear every hat in the business, and focusing specifically on the one or two things that you're really good at and outsourcing the rest. One of the big limiting beliefs that I had when we were sitting editing at 2 in the morning was that no one else can do it like us. No one else is going to be able to maintain the quality of work that we are putting out. So let's just do it ourselves because I'm just going to get frustrated with people anyway. Who here has ever thought that before? Big show of hands. A lot of that has to do with the ego of being a creative as well. A lot of people, there's stubbornness. I have a certain pride in my work. I really like the way I do things, and no one else can do it like me, which in some cases is justified. But that exact belief is what's preventing you from scaling. It's what's keeping you in your prison right now. You might be comfortable because you don't have to trust other people. You're like, I'm self-reliant. I can do this myself. I don't need anyone else. But the reality is that's the exact thing that's making you miserable right now. But it's a painful belief that a lot of people are afraid to let go of. That's what stopped me. I thought no one else was capable of doing the edits like this. No one was capable of making sure the client's work is good. Another limiting belief that people have is that if I outsource the work, if I hand this off to someone else, the client is no longer going to want to work with me because it's no longer my work. Who's dealt with that before or had that thought in their head? We're about to break this. I'm really excited to get into this because this was the big thing. Part of it was a knowledge gap of not knowing how to hire, how to run my agency, how to build systems, but a lot of that was mental as well, and actually thinking that I can't. And when you think you can't, you're not even going to make a reasonable effort because you don't even think it's a possibility that you could ever outsource or delegate work in your agency. You're probably dealing with one of these three things right now. A, you aren't going through enough applications, or if maybe it's 0 right now, which is probably a decent amount of you aren't trying enough. A lot of people will go with the first person they find. They'll say, I need an editor on my Instagram story. Boom, hire the first person that applies. Reality is, if that's the case, you're probably going to be sorely disappointed because it's taken us a lot of bad hires to actually find good people and weed out the bad applicants. So if that's you, went through one application, you've been on one hiring call, you're not doing enough. B, you don't have a good system that makes it easy for your team to do their job. A lot of people think, I'm going to hire someone and I can throw them the wolves, they're going to do all the work. The reality is, you're not going to be able to do that unless you give them structure to work with. If you don't have an organized system, if you don't have an easy to manage, accessible file system where you can go in and find raw footage, where they can go and upload the footage that they've completed, and it's messy, it's disorganized, you're communicating through WhatsApp, Snapchat, Instagram over here, and everything's a mess, and you have random Dropbox folders flying around, it's not going to cut it. No one's going to want to work for you, and if they do, everything's going to be late because you don't have a streamlined process for getting work done on time. Lane, how easy is it to find raw footage when something gets uploaded?
Oh, it's so easy.
How many clicks? Like 3 clicks?
Yeah, like, not even that. It's just like 1 or 2.
Lane wouldn't probably be working for us if I was sending random Drive folders and Dropbox folder over text. That would probably suck, right? Cam is guilty of it sometimes. I'll give him some flack for that. But that's a lot of people's issue. It's not the talent they're hiring. It's not the editors they're bringing on. They don't have anything. They don't have the infrastructure. You know, it's like asking somebody to get across the road, make a trip, be there in 30 minutes, but there's literally construction work and obstacles and fires on bridges, and then they get mad at the driver for not getting there in 30 minutes. Well, your roads are falling apart, your bridges are breaking down. Of course the driver's not going to be there on time. You can't expect a pizza on time because you didn't provide the infrastructure. And that's what a lot of people are doing. They're deflecting the accountability of not having a good system onto the people they're hiring, which is a big no-no. As a business owner, accountability first, bad principle. Or C, this you could maybe fall into all these categories, but C is that you aren't providing team members with crystal clear instructions. Now this is a big one because a lot of people, they're just like, you know what, go figure it out. Go take this project, make something cool. You will get to a point where you have people in your organization, really talented people, that can do that. 98% of people don't operate like that. And a lot of people, they hire someone, they expect them to just understand the vision, to completely get it crystal clear without giving any context, any reference to what they're looking for. The editor goes and makes something that they think is good, but then there's a misalignment from the person who assigned it, and they're like, you know what, you suck at editing. Reality is, you didn't give good instructions. You didn't even give them a chance to succeed. And a lot of people, this is what they're doing. They're completely delegating and they're completely outsourcing responsibility instead of easing somebody in or giving them context. They just expect the other person to figure it out. And again, as a business owner, you are accountable for the performance of your team. A lot of people look at, you know, you and the editor or you and the videographer as a separate entity. You did this, I did that. No. It's we. It's we. That's how a team works. If I make a mistake and an editor makes a mistake, I'm responsible for taking the heat from a client. That's how it works. You operate as a team, but a lot of people are looking at these hires as these separate people, separate entities. You're all working at one. I hate to break it to you. That's how it works. Everyone's one. And like I said, if you go with the first person that applies, there's a 99% chance you're going to be sorely disappointed. When we started our agency, we try to bring on people to post content. We try to bring on editors. And a lot of people were not hitting KPIs. They were missing edits, not revising things quick enough. That sucked. But in finding these bad people, we realized what qualities we wanted in people and what qualities we didn't want. And if we had gone with the first people we hired in our entire agency, if we had stuck with those people today, we would not be where we're at. We would not have the same client results. We would not have our current amount of clients because they probably would have all left because our first people we hired sucked, frankly. And we wouldn't have the systems we have because the people that we initially brought on, we didn't even have a system for them, right? So it was a combination of people that really weren't good at their job, weren't taking it seriously, and we had poor infrastructure. If we had kept that exact same system, we would not be in this room speaking to you, giving you advice right now. We would probably be putting the fries in the bag or something. It would not be a good situation. So my point in that case right there is that if you've hired or attempted to hire one editor and it hasn't gone according to plan, that is normal, that is expected. If you find the person right away off the first message you get in your Instagram or the first applicant you get in your Google form, it's probably more of a problem. You probably don't have good judgment because it's very unlikely that the first person that applies is going to be a good fit for your company, for your agency. It is a tedious process of finding people. You have to be ruthless with your criteria for who you bring on and hold people to a very high standard. Now, something that you can do to make sure that doesn't happen, that you don't let bad people that don't align with your company's values get through the cracks to slip into your company and ruin everything you built, is by testing out editors or videographers, whatever the case might be. And a lot of people, what they'll do is when they bring on a hire, they use their clients as guinea pigs. They'll bring on an editor and immediately assign that editor to a client. And they'll be like, go figure it out. What this does, we're leaving questions for the end. Yeah, no, all good. a lot of people will throw their editors to the wolves, and the client will become a guinea pig, meaning the client is now feeling the heat because you haven't tested your editor, you don't know if you're good. The editor will mess up out on the client's project. That'll negatively impact the client, and then you get in a fight with the editor because they didn't have clear instructions, you tried to test something too early, and now it's a disaster. Maybe that person could have thrived, but because you put them in this high-pressure situation right away with zero context, zero understanding of how you work, now you're probably going to fire the editor, and you might lose the client. That didn't have to happen. What you can do is simply give editors test projects. Have them work on your stuff. For example, if I'm bringing on an editor, I'll have them work on something I don't really care about. That's not due for like another 3 months. That's on me. So if the editor messes up, it doesn't impact any of our clients. It maybe just affects my ability to get a video out on time. And that's really what you want to do, is you want to give them these trial runs, whether paid or free or whatever you guys agree upon, to actually make sure they understand you have a good workflow, good chemistry, good working relationship before you throw them into the crucible. And a lot of people are just throwing them straight into the crucible. That is a recipe for disaster. No one's going to want to work for your company, and people are going to get frustrated. You're going to get frustrated. You need to ease people in. When you're first starting to hire, it may feel like you're doing more work at the start because you're providing them with so much clarity and instruction. When we brought on our head of content, we had him shadow us for about 4 weeks, and he was working closely with me. We were paying him, but he was really just shadowing me at the time because he needed to understand how everything worked. If I had just thrown him to the wolves with no instruction, would have been constant back and forth, a lot of arguing, I would have been frustrating, but because I went in with the expectation that it would take time, there was no issue. And after the 4 weeks, he's my golden child now. But you have to be okay with that testing phase or that trial phase. Otherwise, you're going to get frustrated with every single person you work with, and that's just not fair to yourself or the other person you're bringing on. Another big thing that's allowed us to foolproof our team, make sure that everyone's clear on exactly what they need to do with videos, is these two softwares right here. And I'm pretty sure Loom is free. I know Google Docs is free. Two, what I think are free softwares, Loom might be a $9 a month subscription, is Loom and Google Docs. Those two softwares will make it really hard to make mistakes with your agency and get out client videos that aren't up to your standard. And what a lot of people do is they're in this constant reactive state with their team. They'll assign a video to a team member with little explanation, and then they'll do 20 revisions after the fact. The hours of revisions most likely could have been prevented with about 2 to 3 minutes of upfront communication. A 2 to 5 minute Loom could have saved you hours, if not days, in revisions because you were actually clear on what you needed to get done in the first place with the style, the reference, everything like that. So proactive communication, communicating in advance what you're looking for, is way better than waiting and being reactive and spending days on revisions that could have been avoided if you had just clearly over-communicated to begin with. Now Loom, if you don't know what that is, it's essentially a screen recording software where you can have your face in that corner right there, and then you have a Google Doc where you're reviewing like a script or something like that, or going over footage, and you're able to voice over your screen and explain, hey, here's what I'm looking for, and you can drop it in a nice, cute link that is easy to access. And then Google Docs, I'm going to explain how that ties in as well, but either you provide instructions on the Google Docs, you leave comments on the script, you leave a shot list or a script for your videographer. The more over communication, the more you can explain things in advance, the less time you're going to spend on revisions, the less time you're going to spend chewing out people, ripping them a new one over the phone. Get it right in advance. And I'm going to give you some concrete examples from our agency right here. Now, this is a real Loom I sent to one of my team members over 6 days ago, and I was explaining a client video for him and what I was looking for as far as the reference. Now, I just went in 2 minutes. The video is 1 minute and 20 seconds. It gets down to 32 seconds if they want to speed it up. Again, literally less than a minute of watching the video on their end. Basically explaining, hey, I want a client video. I really like this video as a reference. If we can try to replicate the style while not copying it exactly, this is the vibe or the theme I'm going for, right? And that gives them somewhat of an idea of what I'm looking for. And then if they have additional follow-up questions on that, they can ask it. But simply giving them something, a reference, a base point to work off of, gives them somewhat of an idea. And then that fills in 80%. Their creativity fills in either 20 to 30%. And then they're good. Maybe they have follow-up questions. Maybe they have one additional clarifying question on like a font to use or something like that. But that will solve most of the issues right there. You want to be dealing with micro revisions, like a spelling mistake or maybe some render bug, not macro mistakes of, wow, this editor got the entire style wrong and now I have to give it to someone else or completely redo the project myself because they didn't know what I was looking for. So aim for the micro mistakes in revisions. like the small spelling errors and all those little things, rather than the macro mistakes, which are in a lot of cases unfixable, are going to force you to have to redo the project entirely. Same exact idea here, guys. Literally just showing him how the footages are organized, because this client chose to do it in a bunch of different segments or clips of splitting up the YouTube video. So what I did is I just explained the order of the clips of this is first, this is the intro, this is the body, this is the hook, this is the CTA at the end, this is an intermission. Maybe it was unnecessary, but I'd rather over-explain and over-communicate in a 1-minute Loom video and explain the order of clips than going back in and seeing that the clips are completely out of order and the video was done incorrectly. And I also sent him the script for reference so he can cross-reference and know exactly where the videos are supposed to be and the arrangement of all the clips in frame. Again, takes 2 minutes out of my day, but probably saves me hours, if not days, on the back end that I would have to be revising or leaving comments otherwise. Real shot list I gave to Danny on Monday for a client shoot. We have a YouTube client. We're doing 4 videos a month. We knocked out 4 videos. We need thumbnail pictures. Why would I leave that up to chance about the thumbnail pictures I want to grab? When I know exactly what I want, why would I leave that up to chance? Why would I put that in Danny's hands when we're having him come out to shoot with a client? Why would I burden him with that extra thought process? Just give him a shot list. This isn't even the entire list. I think I had 12, 20 more. I gave him the entire shot list of thumbnail pictures I was looking with specific poses. I even gave him references. Why would I not do that? If I want to get the thumbnail pictures and I'm looking for specific poses, why leave that up to chance? Makes it way easier, and then the client can also see this, and they know exactly what they're doing. This makes the shoot more efficient because there's no audibles or last-second decision-making. If I have a studio for 5 hours, I need to maximize that time. So I want to make sure that everything is getting done in that 5 hours, because otherwise we're going to have to rent another day, which is unnecessary and wasteful. So why not make it crystal clear exactly what we need to get done before the shoot, so that there's no last-second critical thinking or decision-making at the shoot itself. It's finding these little edges and streamlining your process. You think it's not that big a deal, but this adds up massively over the course of a week, over the course of a month, and this is what separates the agency that's stuck at $8K a month from the agency that is able to scale past $50,000 a month and beyond. It's streamlining your process because, trust me, it does add up. And the number 2 was bringing on a head of content. Now, Will, he is the guy that manages all our editors. He is responsible for the quality checking, overseeing the editors, and making sure things get done on time. He is the golden child. I wish he could be here today. He's in Maine currently, but he is amazing. And this was my role previously. I was doing the quality checking. I was overseeing the editors, and he has basically replaced my role in that sense and does it way better than me, so I can focus on strategy, ideation, scripting for clients. He has daily check-in calls with my team. So even if it's 15 minutes out of a day, we'll have everyone hop on at the same exact time, Monday through Friday. And it'll just be a quick check-in, boom, 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 lightning round. What are you working on today? What are you working on today? Do you need help with anything? Do you need assets? Do you need B-roll? This pretty much eliminates any surprises, because if a video is going to be behind, then I get that immediately. Will send a report back to me over Slack. He'll be like, hey, this editor is running behind on this. You're going to need to communicate to the client that this video is going to be pushed back a day. So if there are any late videos or things that need to get adjusted, I know immediately. It's not a last-second communication. Hey, this video is going to be late. I'm not telling the client an hour in advance. I'm telling them 2 or 3 days in advance, because there's such tight feedback loops where if something's wrong, if they're having a problem rendering a video, I know immediately, and I can pass that information along to the client. Again, streamlined communication. I'm not finding about stuff days later. I'm finding about it minutes later, because after these calls, Will is literally sending me a DM on Slack recapping exactly what went down on that call, the highs of the call, the lows on the call, and any potential threats we have to look out for in the coming week. Pretty much makes it impossible for client deliverables or client videos to fall through the cracks. Now, this is the holy grail. Number 3, building a content management system. Now, I did not build this myself, as I'll get into in a bit, but this system right here is the most responsible part of the success of the operations of our agency. Because, I talked about building roads, building infrastructure. Well, this is the town hall, the infrastructure for our entire agency. This is what every single one of our team members works out of. Everyone's routing through this. And I make the joke that you have to be a bit of a dictator with your agency. You have to force them to use one system, one set of softwares, and one way of doing things. Otherwise, it all turns into a mess. You can't have people texting WhatsApp. You can't have people giving links over here. It has to be done in one universal system, and Airtable is that common denominator. It's that common currency, it's that common language that binds our agency together and is the glue between everything that happens on a day-to-day basis. And I'm going to show you guys live exactly how the system works from start to end when a video gets uploaded to Frame, whether that be a videographer, whether that be Cam, to that video getting assigned to the editor, to revisions being made. I'm going to show it to you live right here so you can understand just how streamlined our process is, so you guys can take inspiration for whatever system you decide to build. So I'm going to pull up Airtable on my computer over here. Now, if I didn't make this clear already, the three softwares that work together, and you'll see very quickly, is it's going to be Slack, which is where we handle internal team communication. You can also use it for client communication. We just choose to use iMessage. Frame.io, which is a better version of Dropbox and Google Drive. If you guys aren't already in Frame.io, get on that ASAP. Create a subscription as soon as you're done with this presentation or the day, whenever you're back at your computer. And the last would be Airtable. Airtable. This is exactly the software you're seeing right now. So I'm going to show you live. This is going to be the process of me assigning a video to my team in that entire walkthrough. So right here is a new content form. So anytime I have a project for a client or a video that needs to get assigned, we just finished filming, I fill out this form and magic happens. I'm going to show you exactly how this goes down. So I'm going to name a video right here. I'm sorry. So I start with the test project, Mastermind. Go to long form. This is a long form video. It asks you to specify whether it's a long form video or a short form video. And I'm going to say this is for Presley. I'm just going to do it myself here so it doesn't tag in any of the client channels. I actually got to open the form first. I'm doing it on here. Open a separate tab. Zoom in so you guys can see the fields. This is a long form video, so I specify this. I'm just going to say it's from me. Thumbnail designer, I'm also going to put this to me so you guys can see all the functions. Editor, it's going to have the entire list of editors here on my team. So all these fields will auto-populate. And then assign to editor, because this is ready, the filming has been completed. Team leader, I'm going to set myself. Normally I would put Will there because he's the one that everyone routes back to and reports to, but I'm going to put myself for this example here. I'm going to say the due date is a week from today. Next Saturday I'd like this to be uploaded, and I'd like to get this live on the client's channel next Sunday the 1st. So I'm going to put that. 11:21 a.m. Hey Presley, Presley's footage is ready to be assigned. So normally this would go to Will because he's the one leading these projects, he's the team lead, but I just set it to myself so you can see what the notification or the message looks like on his end. So Will would get a message right here, and it would say, hey, this footage is ready to be assigned, and all they have to do is click this green button right here, assign to editor, and then watch what happens in the Slack channel. So I'm pretending I'm Will here, I just assigned the footage. Now, see these two names that got tagged? I set myself for the sake of the example. But if I had assigned an editor, this name right here would be the editor. This name right here would be the thumbnail designer. And right here, hyperlinked conveniently, is the frame folder where they will be finding and navigating the raw footage. So they simply go right here. I'm just going to copy that so somebody can click the hyperlinks on the computer. But anyone else with a normally functioning computer can click this link right here, and it'll bring them straight to the frame folder. So I just copy and pasted that hyperlink right here. And what do you know? It is the raw footage for Presley, who is the client here. If this was another client, it would be that client's raw footage folder. But this is all the raw footage. So if I have the project named over there, everything, all the newest stuff is going to automatically populate and go to the top left. So if it's named appropriately, and I'm not set up the name folder, they know the most recent thing right here is what I'm referring to. And it's also named appropriately to clear up any confusion. So now they have the raw footage folder. It's literally hyperlinked there. They don't have to go manually dig through folders. It is quite literally linked in the message they get from the bot on Slack, which is really cool. So the thumbnail designer is able to access thumbnail pictures. If there's thumbnail pictures here, they can find that. I'll put that in the raw footage folder, and the editor is able to get the footage they need to download. Just like that. There's no back and forth. Hey, drive link, Dropbox, whatever. Nope. Everything goes in there. That's standard issue for our entire team. And now, what it's going to look like is if I'm the editor, I have an option to confirm that it's editing in progress. So now this will go to a field under clients. So I'm going to go to myself on here, content management, and now I go to myself on here and Mastermind test. So you see how it's under ready for editing. Now as the editor, I'm going to confirm that yes, I'm working on this, it's in progress, and that field in Airtable is going to update. I'm also going to get a message that, hey, this editor has begun working on this project, and that's how I know that the editor has received the assignment, that they're working on it, that they got the okay. And if there's any other issues after that, they can message me about this in this client channel. And you notice also how everything is structured by client channel, right? So there's no confusion about one channel or whose work you're working on. There's separate client channels both in Frame, Slack, and Airtable. So the only people that are in those specific client channels are people that are working on that client's project. So there's not editors and designers being looped in the conversations that aren't involved. It is streamlined so that it's like, hey, you're assigned to this client and this client, so you're only going to be in these channels. Because why would you get notifications about stuff you're not working on? That doesn't make sense. A lot of people run it through one group chat, one channel. That's a recipe for disaster. And now I would get a notification in here in Presley that, hey, so-and-so has begun working on Presley's videos. So this would be a notification to Will, and this would be the confirmation that the editor has, in fact, started working on the videos. Now, you'll see in Airtable, it went from editing in progress, or ready for editing, to editing in progress. So now if I want to check up on the status of that project, I can now see that the editor is in fact working on it and that everything is going smooth according to plan. Now, there's a few more automations that take place after this as well. Go back to Slack, where there's a time delay on this between a few hours where the editor will get another message from this Airtable bot, and they'll say, hey, are you still working on this? Is this still in progress, or is it ready to go? And the editor will have another option to click a green button that says uploaded to channel or uploaded to frame. And then from there, that'll send a notification to Will, my head of content, who's responsible for reviewing. I'll give you an example over here. It's one of our clients right here. I'll show you an example from yesterday. Hey, the editor has uploaded version 1 of the videos, and conveniently, it's hyperlinked right here. So again, this is going to link back to the ready for review folder for that specific client. And then, what do you know? At the top left is going to be the new updated video, and my head of content can go in here. Great thing about Frame is you can leave comments at specific timestamps, and then mark this right here, ready for review, approved, needs review, whatever the case may be. And then once Will has reviewed that, he'll get another message from Airtable saying, hey, is this video approved? Is it ready to go up, ready to go live, or does it need revision? And then when he marks it as needs revision, that's going to send another message to the editor right here saying, hey, this needs revisions. And then when it's approved, right, it'll tag Will, say, hey, either it's approved or it needs revision, and then he'll leave comments on Frame. So when he hits another button in Airtable and the editor gets a notification that it needs a revision, they can simply refer to the project on Frame, and they'll see the comments down here and know exactly what to fix by the timestamp, by the second. And then from there, the editor will have another option to say, hey, this is ready to go, or like I've made the changes or I haven't. And then from there, that's where we'll be able to send a frame link to a client over text or over Slack, however we're communicating, and go from there. And then from there, Will know whether the video is completed because he'll give it one final look, upload it to the client's channel, or send a review link for the client. And the great thing about Frame, by the way, even if your clients are not in your ecosystem, I can go and make a review link of this that clients can comment on with share, ready for review, and then I'll just hit settings right here or sharing, and then I can just copy this link. Anyone with this link can access and make comments. So if I want to send the final review link to a client before I publish, I can do it right here. That is our system. As you can see, there's very little room for error or confusion because everything is automated. It's all done, it's all system, it's one infrastructure, there's no confusion about where people are receiving videos, where they're uploading videos, and this saves hours of needless communication, missed assignments, missed deadlines, whatever the case may be, because it is one language, one currency, one system that everyone on my team adheres to. And you're probably wondering, what does this actually mean with the Airtable system? Like, what is the outcome of having this? Well, for starters, it's allowed Cam to make these trips to go work with potential clients, build relationships, and get deals across that otherwise we wouldn't have time to because we were stuck in the trenches of doing all this ourselves, of this constant back and forth, this constant needless communication. But now he can go out and build these relationships and sign deals and meet people he otherwise wouldn't have time to meet we can make that happen. And a lot of other agencies can't because their systems are out of whack and they're constantly putting out fires, fixing things. It's really never an issue for us. And Cam is able to go take advantage of that and go sign deals while this runs as a machine in the background. And while I'm still involved with scripting, strategy, and all that, all the grunt work, all the fulfillment, all the editing, designing, everything like that in the day-to-day, that is completely done by people that can do it way better than me. So I can go talk about results we've gotten for clients, how we get client results, our strategy to getting people results on YouTube, make content around that, which in turn generates more revenue for our agency, brings in new potential clients, and ultimately grows the business. And I know if I'm able to sign people from that content, I can feed them into our system, and we have a working machine that's able to fulfill them, and they're going to get a great service because we have the systems to back it up on the back end, and I'm never going to be scared when selling because we have a great system that makes sure their videos go on time. And as I was saying before, we didn't build this ourselves. This cost us over $12,000 to build. At the time, I think we were on installments of this, so we were paying over the course of a few months. It wasn't cheap. It was not cheap, but it's one of the most valuable assets, as you can see, we have in our agency, and it's what makes the world go round. Hiring isn't cheap either. Besides the limiting beliefs, the thing that prevents a lot of people from actually making that first hire, bringing on that first editor, bringing on that first thumbnail designer, is they don't want to spend money. They want to keep all the profit themselves. They're thinking about their personal take home rather than the growth of the business. And what I'm going to show you here in a second is not hiring is actually costing you more money. So I'm going to give you an example of one of our students in the team. Wish he could be here today. He had an issue. He runs a short form agency. He scaled from 4K to 12K a month over the course of a few months. Didn't have a problem getting clients. Problem is, he had no life. He was doing all the stuff himself. He was filming with clients. He was editing for clients and posting for clients. And he said, Presley, I'm spending all this time posting for clients. I want to go spend more time signing deals because I'm good at sales, and that's what I want to focus on. And I was like, okay, team, why don't you just bring on a content manager? He was like, well, it's going to cost me money. It's going to be hard to find someone, just a bunch of excuses. And I was like, let me do some math for you, okay? You can get somebody for this role for $500 a month, realistically, marketing kid at school looking to get some experience under their belt, somebody to help with that, would be more than happy to do this for $500, $1,000 a month, right? You're spending, it's an hour a day, it's only 30 hours a month of work, but that 30 hours of work for you, you're not even taking into account the opportunity costs of what else you could be spending that time on, or even just the mental bandwidth it consumes to mindlessly post for clients every single day. So let's run the numbers. His hourly rate as a videographer is $200, right? Currently, if you can outsource that for $500 a month, spending an hour a day on that, 30 hours a month, he is currently spending his time on a $16 an hour activity, which is minimum wage in most states. And I was like, hey, team, is your hourly rate more than $60 an hour? He's like, yeah, actually I charge about $200 for my hourly rate. Let's run the math. How much money is Hatim missing out on by not hiring? Well, if you consider those 30 hours a month, instead of going to posting content for clients, he's taking one of those hours every single day and doing a client shoot, just hypothetically, $200 times 30. His opportunity cost of posting this content himself, in theory, is $6,000 a month, an extra $6,000 a month. So Hatim's at $12,000 right now, which means he could grow his business by 50% off this one hire. Even after you subtracting the cost of that hire, the extra $6,000 minus the $500 it costs to hire, comes out to $5,500 a month. So if we add $6,000 in monthly recurring revenue to his current revenue, take away that $500, that puts the team at $17,500 a month in revenue, $18,000 if you don't include the cost of that hire, which means a team has essentially jumped from $12,000 a month to $18,000 a month in monthly recurring revenue off one hire. Off one hire of somebody simply posting the content for his clients, Hatim's business grows by 50%, 45.8% if you include the fact that you got to subtract that cost. One hire, that's all it took. And I wish he was here today, but at last week's presentation, we had him come up and he gave a little testimonial. It was like, I literally signed 2 clients today because now I have the time to actually go and sign more deals. I don't have to worry about that. That was the only reason I was able to make this trip out to Phoenix, Arizona, which is really cool to see it actually happen in real time. And not only is it expensive to not hire, to keep doing this stuff yourself and miss out on this potential revenue, but it's also expensive to miss out on life. For the longest time, Cam and I were locked away, doing all the stuff ourselves, and we're still very busy. We're still working very hard on our agency, but now we have time back. Before, this wasn't even a possibility. The idea of going wake surfing in the morning was unreal to us. We didn't think that was a possibility. It was just work, 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 computer all the time. And in the last year, we started going wake surfing in the morning before work. 7 a.m., 10 a.m., little 3-hour, 4-hour session, and then work the rest of the day. That wasn't even a possibility for us before. But now, you don't even realize it when you're into it. There is so much out there for you to do other than editing videos, designing, all this stuff yourself. You can still work hard in your agency and have fun. I thought it was one or the other. I didn't think I could have my cake and eat it too. I was dead wrong. Still a lot of hard work, but there is time in the day to do this stuff if you create the right systems. A lot of you guys need to stop thinking like creatives, like freelancers, like hustlers, and start thinking like business owners. And when I implemented this was my first time seeing sun in about a year and a half. It was a great day. It was a great day out on the water. This wouldn't have been possible if I didn't have systems in place. Choice is yours. I'm giving you all this information here at this presentation. You can walk away, do absolutely nothing, keep being stubborn, go and do all the stuff yourself, and say, there's no one as good as me. I'm never going to be able to fix this. Right? I can't make you implement anything. I can just give you the information and my knowledge, my experience here today. You can go back and keep being stubborn. There's nothing forcing you guys to implement what you've learned today. Or you can finally make that hire. You can finally go start scouting for talent. You can go look for editors. You can go put somebody into your business that is able to do it better than you and actually give you time to go sign more deals, to live life, and experience what being a business owner should actually feel like. That's all I got. Q&A time. Question over here.
I was going to ask about the frame. Is it like a limited storage similar to like a lot of the other file systems?
Yeah, so you have to upgrade storage over time. You're capped out. You know, there's a certain amount of terabytes based on your plan, but it's similar to the others as far as that. Yeah, it is cloud-based storage.
How large do they offer?
You can go unlimited. You're going to have to upgrade gradually over time, but I have not. We're at 10, 11 terabytes right now, and we can still upgrade.
Why do you prefer it over another cloud storage?
Well, what I was just mentioning with the commenting, I think the interface is much better as far as leaving comments. I mean, you can even draw on the actual screen with a marker if you wanted to like mark a specific asset or something in the video that you wanted to change. You can literally circle it with a marker on frame. And when you leave comments, when you're scrubbing through the video, if you leave a comment on something like a part you're stopped on, it will mark on the far right side. It'll say like 320. Change this or change this spelling, which is insane. I think Dropbox might have a feature that they added that's similar to that, but Frame.io is the cleanest interface out of everything I've seen, and it's very easy. And the fact that you can send these easy review links for clients where they can play it in app and in stream and it loads very quickly is phenomenal to me. And so far, it's worked the best out of everything. Drive compresses quality, kind of sucks, feels old school, no real room to leave comments. Haven't touched Dropbox a lot, but this has worked best for us, and I've stuck with it since. Yeah.
So for hiring editors, is it best to, I don't know many, and I'm glad I'm here because I don't know many Phoenix videographers, so I don't know many, filmmakers that know how to edit. So is it, like, what do you recommend finding people to edit? Like, obviously, you can throw it up on Instagram and say, hey, I need editors, but I don't know many. So, like, what would you recommend for just, and I don't want to, like, send it off seas to, different times out, so. What do you recommend?
Yeah, 100%. So actually, most of our editors are overseas. So we have guys like Lane and Will that are American-based. They're really good at vlogs because with vlogs, I prefer somebody with a more American background just for the sake of storytelling and kind of understanding communication. Sometimes that can be a bit of a barrier. So I have guys like them to quality check and help the overseas editors with projects like that specifically, but overseas editors crush talking head videos. I have some really, really talented guys on my team that either live in Europe, some guys are based in, Asia, Middle East that are really talented. So that right there is a limiting belief, and also you can get them for relatively inexpensive because of the currency gap right there and the conversion. So what I would recommend is if you're gonna do it through social media, having a big personal brand helps, but it's not a requirement. If you do have some kind of following with creatives, what I would recommend is don't put up a post that says, DM me if you want to edit for me. If you're going to do that, you have to send everyone through a disqualifying form. So I have a really good friend, K Fitz. He runs a sports media agency, paid Cam and I for consulting a while back. He's like, I need help growing my agency. And one of the first recommendations I made for them, I'm like, you guys need an assistant editor. I know you love editing for these athletes. I know it's your passion. You got to let go of that. So what I did is we went in and we created a hiring form with a list of 20 questions about why do you want this job, what's your experience, drop your portfolio link, and all the people that wanted to apply had to fill out this pretty dense form. And what we did at the end, and this is really good, take notes on this, is we put a segment at the end, send us an optional, and we marked it as optional, send us an optional video, 60 seconds of yourself explaining why you'd be a good fit for this role. We marked it as optional, but anyone that did not fill that out was automatically disqualified. Because why would we take somebody that's not going to go above and beyond, that's going to do those optional things for the application? Like, why? We just want the highest intent people that really are passionate about the opportunity and want to work because they believe in the vision of the company. And by doing that, we were able to disqualify like 60 to 70% of the applicants on there. So what you're doing is you're creating this filtering process where instead of having to look through 100 applicants, you're immediately able to whittle it down to like 20 or 30. And another, if you aren't able to do it through social media, ytjobs.co is great. I love ytjobs.co. It does charge you for an application, but you get really high quality applicants. And I would say onlinejobs.ph is okay for very basic stuff. I would say if you're trying to get more advanced, dense projects, that's not great. But if you need like an assistant editor, somebody to help cut up footage or do cut-to-cuts, onlinejobs.ph can work. That's what we use to start. But ytjobs.co, in my opinion, has given me the highest quality applicants over time. It can be difficult. It really depends on the process. The platform itself is just sourcing the talent. I think ytjobs.co will have the best talent. But what's ultimately going to determine the quality of people that you get is your filtering and hiring process. Absolutely.
So if your agency or brand is at a stage yet where you're essentially making money from people, if you're just trying to trade services, is it necessary to hire somebody to create a team for you?
Could you elaborate a little bit more on the question?
Okay, so for instance, I was talking to you a little bit about it, but so my brand is we're niched in choreography and dance.
Okay.
I do videography, but now I'm starting to like take my marketing background and like help like a dance studio. So he is hired me as his marketing, videographer, creating content, and I get the studio whenever I want. Where it's like now I want to start being able to make money off of that, use him and put that under my portfolio besides the experience I have on like 9 to 5 jobs. But I'm doing all of the bottleneck work. You're saying that to do like more of like the sales and focus more on like driving and getting leads, you should start outsourcing like basically your weight.
Correct. So with a client even, what you want to be focused on, the highest leverage thing you can do with a client is going to be the ideation and the strategy side of things, because that's ultimately what's going to move the needle the most, right? Because ideas, your taste, and your approach with the brand and how you position the content, that's really what's going to determine how the content performs. And editing and stuff, shooting, that's definitely important, but it is going to be the easiest or the first thing you outsource, because you want to be involved with the strategy side of things, and also you want to be selling more deals and getting more clients in the door by talking about your services and hopping on sales calls with people. And the only way you're able to get time to do that is by, getting an editor, getting somebody to do the shoots for you, so you're not boots on the ground 24/7.
If so, if I'm trying to hire somebody that is basically trusting the vision, like has faith in me, what's an incentive for them to be able to be like, I don't got money coming in right now, but I need your help, and then we'll come.
Oh, as far as, so you're not getting paid from the client yet?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so that's the first step for sure, is what I would do if you have a client that you've done good work for in that department, go and leverage that free work to go and get more clients. Say, hey, I've done work for XYZ. Here's my portfolio. This is what I look like. This is what I charge for XYZ package. And then once you have money coming in, say the client is paying you, $3,000 a month retainer, for example, then you can afford and justify spending $800 a month on an editor to help with the actual production and clipping and editing and everything like that, because now you have money coming in and you can pay them, on a per project basis, either per video or a flat monthly rate to help you with the work.
So don't hire yet in that stage.
No.
Do you guys do content uploading for all your clients, or do you have that?
Yeah, so for the YouTube, we just handle the publishing. It just makes it easier. When we were doing short form, it became a little bit operationally harder because it was like 30 to 60 videos. But again, if you can hire someone like a team did, you can easily outsource that to somebody in college, a VA or somebody like that, and you're able to do it for relatively inexpensive.
I've stayed away from that as much as I can. Frankly.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I would recommend doing it for your clients if you can find someone good, because it's a big value add to the client when it's completely end to end, and it just helps with retention, because when they know you're doing everything for them, it makes it way harder to justify cutting you at any single point, because they don't want to go back to publishing content themselves once they've had somebody take care of it. So what you need to do is you need to find a way to take that operational burden and put it onto yourself, and then the client is going to perceive the service to be much higher value because you're literally handling every step of the process. That's why we do that with our clients. That's why we do ideation, scripting, editing, filming, everything like that with our clients. Number one, because it's the best way to guarantee results when we're controlling every variable. And number two, it makes us relatively irreplaceable, and it's really hard to substitute what they had with us with an in-house team we're trying to hire themselves.
In total, how many people do you have in your team
Right now, so we have our head of content, Will, and then we have editors. So we have 10, probably 8 to 10 available editors at any given time. A lot of them are on standby, either waiting for new clients or waiting for work. And then we have probably 5 or 6 that are actively working on projects. And they're able to take on, 1, 2, sometimes even 3 clients themselves.
They're all like full-time or something?
So it's like we pay them on a per project basis, but they have a pretty good expectation of like they're going to get 1 video a week, they're going to get 2 videos a week. So it is a consistent work, but we pay on a per project basis for a lot of people, yeah.
Do you have any recommendations on like sending invoices?
Send it to clients or paying contractors.
Like, I've done a couple websites and I'll send them like a normal invoice with Canva that I send myself. Then I also run like a clothing brand and they send me an invoice so I'm able to pay with like debit.
Yeah.
Like job form. Is there anything?
Stripe is going to be your best bet. Yeah, super easy. They can pay with debit card. They can pay with bank transfer. There's a bunch of different options. That's your best bet.
So, do you think it's more prudent to ask a client, let's say you're doing free work, or let's say you're doing free work for them? Do you just make a sick reel for them, or would you ask them, hey, what do you want to be similar to the YouTube video show me? I just have one here, like for a paid client, it makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
How do you show me a YouTube video, how you want it to look like?
Oh, as far as like communicating with clients and communicating back to that team.
So if you're doing a free work, how would you, if you're doing a free work, let's say cut, for example, would you ask them, hey, can you send me a reel?
Like for the free work?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would ask if they have any style inspiration. I think that goes a long way. We're at the point with our clients where we just tell our clients what to do because we have that frame with them, and it's like people know us as the guys that get results for YouTube. And at this point, like I don't even entertain that because our relationship is very much like, hey, we're telling you what to do, we're calling the shots, and we set that expectation and tone at the start. When you're just starting out, you don't necessarily have that because you don't have a ton of past client work or testimonials, and you can't really have that. So it's more of a collaborative effort with the client to see what they're looking for. But also, they are trusting your creative taste, so you should be calling the shots to some degree as well. But having some inspiration is great, for sure.
How important would you be like a business partnership like you and Cam have? I don't know, it's 50-50.
Yeah.
But something like that kind of puts a wrench in my stomach because that's a lot of trust. It's almost like a marriage story.
Yeah.
So how do you approach that?
I would say the biggest thing for me when I met Cam, it's a character thing for sure. I would say look at someone's character before their technical skills. Obviously, want someone that was competent. Cam had multiple years of experience doing social media content for a trading startup and had a ton of experience with videography, so it made sense on that side too. But the number one thing I saw is we just got along as people, and I saw him as someone with a strong work ethic. The night we met, we both went back to the hotel and we were just banging out work. We had Red Bulls, and everyone else was going out, going to the club and everything like that. And we were pretty much the only two that stayed behind, and we're just banging away. And that spoke volumes because we both knew that it was a get it done at all costs type of attitude, and that has persisted throughout our agency. Like knowing that he will be there working with me at 2 or 3 in the morning to get something done, and the opposite is true. That built-in trust is what makes a relationship, in my opinion. So I would say look at character before technical skills, but the more technical skills definitely doesn't hurt. Yeah.
So I know you said it costs you a lot of money to build a content management system. How do you recommend us going about building something that looks really great?
For sure. We actually have a surprise coming at the end about that, by the way. I'm going to keep that a secret for the time being. But regarding that, for building your own systems, if you did want to do your own system, some people like Notion a lot. You can get away with just using Slack and Frame. So Airtable is the thing that automates all those messages and, helps you store and keep track of all the projects. But simply having a relationship between Slack and Frame, like simply having client folders organized in Frame and having these client channels separated by client and only having the assigned people on that work, you can basically do all the stuff I just did manually and do it yourself. It is a little bit more tricky, but you can do that all manually. So having Slack and Frame alone is going to cover like 70-80% of that. So as far as building a system, it's really just having those things in place of separating client channels in Slack and Frame and having organization as far as raw footage ready for review, and having a system where your team just all communicates through one platform and they all upload footage to one platform. That is going to solve most of your issues. So a lot of people shouldn't overcomplicate it necessarily at the start. Having Airtable is amazing. It's a lifesaver. It takes a lot of the thinking and thought process out of it, but Slack and Frame alone will be good. Yeah.
This might be more of a Ken question, so feel free to tell me to shut up so we cover it later. But obviously you guys have kind of post-client acquisition ops all sorted out.
For sure.
Do you have a CRM that you stack on the front end to manage like sales funnel and lead tracking?
Oh, people that are coming through for our agency?
Yeah.
I keep track of that manually personally, and I'll just get people in group chat. So if I have a sales call with somebody, I'll collect phone numbers on my Calendly, so I'll just have their number. So I'll just text them after the fact, hey, let's schedule a meeting for this, or I'll just relentlessly blow people up over text. That works for me. A lot of people have something more organized for CRM for keeping track of leads, but we tend to get less people interested just because our total addressable market is really small. But out of those people, we kind of go with the sniper approach of outreach. That's kind of what's worked for us as far as building these really, really big relationships with these big hitters and then honing in on those people over the course of a few weeks or months. We kind of focus on quality over quantity. So we don't necessarily always have a ton of people coming in. We have like 3 or 4 that we're really focused on that we have group chats with that we're building a relationship with or we got introduced to through a referral. So that's kind of our system. And one last thing as well. Through Airtable, I forgot to mention, you can also automate client onboarding as well, because when you're importing new clients into the system, I'm going to shut up and take a couple more questions before we move on. But in this onboarding form right here, this is something that can automate the client onboarding process. It's going to take a second to load, because when you have a new client, you can send them this form. And what it'll do is it'll automatically import all the client's information into Airtable. And what that'll do is now the client is going to be set up, and you can assign projects to editors, and their name is now going to populate as one of the clients when you hit that plus button. And now the client feels like they were onboarded properly. In this onboarding form, you can also customize this. What it basically asks them is like, where are we posting to for you? And that's all going to be saved internally if you ever forget or a team member forgets as you scale. And then are there any more platforms you want us to post on? What are your logins? That's all going to be stored within internally. So that's a really good kill 2 birds, 1 stone. It looks good to the client because you have a proper onboarding form, and also you have a place to store logins now for the client. So you can kill everything with one go. What are your social media goals? So this is great because you can set expectations. The client can set goals that you can refer back to after 6 months. Say, hey, this is what your goal was, when we started. This is where we're at now, and you can compare the two and give the client a perspective on what the kind of results you've gotten for. So this is great. You can also customize this. We're going to talk about this a little bit later. Again, surprise coming at the end. But there's a lot you can do with this beyond just the actual content management as well. You can also use it to onboard clients. Any burning questions? Yeah.
Yeah, so what would you say helped you and Cam switch that initial mindset and be just like a regular videographer between jobs, like one by one, to like shifting that mindset. Oh, we gotta put a system. We gotta get organized. We have to put people in basic jobs that we can't do.
For sure.
Mindset wise.
Yeah, well, a big thing was also just seeing we were hitting a ceiling. We couldn't scale past $50,000, $60,000 a month, and we were constantly churning and burning clients and trying to get new ones because our systems were not good, and we weren't able to give the clients our full attention because we were trying to do everything. And in trying to do everything, we were doing not a lot very well. We were just doing a lot of things at a mediocre level. So seeing that and hitting that ceiling, that frustration of like, I have no life and my business is also stuck. That was like, okay, we need to take a few steps back to actually go forward. So it was really just that frustration boiled up to a point where I couldn't take it anymore. I'm like, you know what? I'll try anything at this point. I'm tired of this.
How do you
Yeah.
get most of your clients? Like after you like scale back down and scale back up, or did you know the clients? Did you cold call, or did they went to you?
For sure. Yeah, this is definitely going to be more of a Cam question, but I'll chime in for a second here. Cam and I had the advantage of we built a really good personal brand over that time. I have a following on Twitter, now X, which is pretty good. A lot of business owners over there. Cam had Instagram, wasn't as big at the time, but he had some really good quality people following him. So we could put up a story post like, hey, taking on a few more YouTube clients this month, whatever. We had people in our network that we would cold DM, but it wasn't really cold because maybe they followed me on Twitter and I followed them back and we had interacted before. Like, hey, actually, dude, noticed you're in Miami, thought you'd be a really good fit. Let's go grab lunch. I'd love to talk more about this with you. And because we had mutual friends, it was a very easy in. It didn't really feel like cold outreach. And so we had the advantage of having the personal brand. But when we first started, we really needed to do cold outreach, and we used a custom loom video, which I think Cam or somebody else is going to cover here as well, where we use this outreach strategy I've talked about on my YouTube channel before, where we would send people these custom video pitches where we'd set up a good camera and we would basically explain how we could help the client and then offer to shoot a free video with the client in person. And if they liked it, we could keep working together. If not, no harm, no foul.
What do you recommend for someone who's doing a full-time job and trying to build their own agency? And on top of that too, do you recommend getting an LLC from the beginning? Or
if you don't have a client, focus on getting money in first, then setting up the LLC right after you get that first client, and setting up a business bank account with the EIN is probably your best bet. But get the money in first, because a lot of people put the cart before the horse. Get your first client. Once you do that, now you can go set up the LLC. It's like a small fee or whatever. So you're going to need the money anyways. And again, if you're working a 9-to-5 job, even more reason to build these systems, because you're going to want to have people helping you out as you transition out of your job to full-time. We'll take one or two more, and then I want to move on. I've already overstayed my welcome over here.
When you scaled back to 20K, how long did it take you to blow past your original belief?
Probably like 3 or 4 months. So I think December and January of 2024 or 2023 going into 2024 is really when things started to take off again. We started to get some big deals in the pipeline, and things started to pop off again.
For being more personable and like getting a cold or leads when you're going on a cold outreach, do you prefer like a system where you go into the establishment and you're just like, hey, let me do a couple of things for you?
So is your question like, should I do it in person or should I do it virtually?
Yeah, because there's something about like cold calling where it's like, I can't be personal.
Yeah, I mean, that's a preference thing. And Cam and Ben are going to talk about this a little bit, but you find your lane and you stick with it. Some people love colder parts. Some people actually love cold calling because they can just hit a big list very quickly and set appointments. You just got to test all of them, in my opinion, and then see which one works best. Whatever sticks the most for you is most aligned with your personality. You run with that.
I would like to just take a moment and thank the sponsors of this video. It's me and Presley, founders of the Clip Curator, which is our main agency. And we really couldn't do it without them. If you think about it, we had to feed people, we had to buy seats. There's a whole bunch of different things that we had to do for the event that cost money. And without our agency, we wouldn't have been able to pull it off. If you want to learn how to build an agency for yourself, how to get clients, and how to sell them money instead of selling them content, you're selling them literally content casino. It's very hard to sell a content casino, and you want to actually sell them money. Businesses love buying money. Click the link below. I have free training on exactly how you can go and sell money. Click that after you watch this video, but then go click that and learn how to go sell businesses money, because they're going to love it. All right, welcome back. Session 2 out of 4. We're going to have the one and only Ben Vega. Excited for Ben. Ben was the one that helped me film and edit the entire first season of the YouTube series. Definitely could not do it without him. Shout out Ben. He was actually living 45 minutes away from here when we were doing the series. So he just ended up coming to my place and we bought a monitor because he had a PC. No, you brought your PC. That's
I brought
right.
my PC from my apartment.
We brought his PC from his apartment, and he was sleeping on my couch and editing the videos for the series. So crazy dedication from Ben. And now he's one of the coaches inside of our community. We're both a little autistic together. So I'm pretty excited for what he's going to come and present because he's a wild child for sure. We have a lot of fun. And now he's a resident of Optima as well. So now we can do even more degenerate activities together. So I'm going to hand it over to Ben.
This is something super excited to be a part of because, like I said, this is our first one. For the first one, this is a pretty good turnout, in my opinion, because the last 5 years, I've had a lot of experience doing events. Real estate, mastermind events, business events. I ran around with Cody Sperber for the last 2021 to the beginning of 2023, so about 2 years. For those of you who don't know who that is, he's a big real estate investor, and he's known as the clever investor. So I've been all over the country for big events, 100 million mastermind, Kent Clothier, Scale and Escape, people like Ed Milet, Pace Morby. So I've been around the event space for a long time. I just never been a speaker myself. Always been behind the camera doing videos. So it's definitely exciting to, thank you. It's definitely exciting to, kind of be able to speak to a group of people now, myself, and give some value. And I've gotten to the point now, thanks to Presley and Cam, where I have the opportunity to share my knowledge, share my experience, and be able to help out a group of people like you. So we're going to dive into it now. So today I'm going to be talking about pricing and contracts. So how many of you guys struggle with putting together the correct pricing, proposal, or contracts for your clients? Hands up. Hi, everyone's hands up that struggles with that. Perfect. Okay, so today I'm going to be running through how we can use and leverage AI to help us automate this process, make it much easier, enhance the client experience, and also be able to make it easier for ourselves instead of spending 12 plus hours writing contracts, coming up with the correct proposal, laying out all the deliverables, and trying to price everything correctly or perfect, right? This is something that I feel like 80 to 90% of videographers, creators, filmmakers, agency owners struggle with. Definitely stuff that we see from our students. This is definitely one of the biggest things, and I'm super excited to be presenting something that's going to be very helpful to all of you that raised your hands. Automate this process, use market data and all this knowledge that we have fed it specific to videography, potential clients, and being able to go in there and really just lay everything out, give it your exact scenario, and have it spit out a pricing proposal and contract that you can fully, customize or, go in and change whatever you think is going to be more fitting when you send it off to the client. So that being said, let's just dive into some of the main points for this here. So smart automation, like I said, leveraging AI to automate pricing calculations and contract generation, reducing hours of work to minutes while maintaining perfect accuracy. Again, this thing is being fed so much knowledge. Me and Clayton, so actually I want to give grace to Clayton because Clayton has been working extremely hard with AI itself to be able to automate a lot of the processes that we struggle with as videographers. And it's just a tool that we have access now to, and it's getting smarter. It's already extremely smart and it already has the capabilities of making the processes for a lot of the things that we have to do as far as creating proposals, contracts, specific to this presentation, a lot easier. And then also data-driven decisions, again, making informed pricing decisions based on market trends, historical data, and client behavior patterns analyzed by AI. Again, this thing will, the more specific that you go into it with your prompt, and I have a couple examples and we're going to do some live demonstration with it, but the more specific that you are, the smarter that it's going to be able to work with your situation. How many of you guys have experience using AI? Okay, perfect. So you guys probably already understand the better the prompt, the better the response that it's going to spit out to you. Risk mitigation, AI-powered contract analysis identifies potential issues and ensures compliance, protecting both you and your clients. How many of you guys have done a deal, worked with a client that didn't end up, the most positive? And if you had a contract in place, really identifying every single part of the detail, you both signed off on it, you would have had, less stress, less kind of not as great turnout with the client. Anyone? Better situations if there's a contract involved? Yeah, same. So that's one of the biggest things that comes with this, as well as enhancing the client experience, because imagine you have a client that is ready to pay you The deal is pretty much done. You guys have done multiple meetings. You're ready to get these guys signed and pay. Imagine right then and there, you're like, okay, I'll get the contract done. I can't tell you from how many times from the beginning when I started, and I'll go into a quick example. One of my actual first corporate client, which is a spine pain management company out here in Arizona. You can look them up. Their name is Advanced Spine and Pain, short ASAP. And being the 19-year-old kid who I was, I actually wrote the contract, laid out all the deliverables on a Google document. It was like the worst MLA format, college kid kind of format. It was terrible. Thankfully, they signed it, and they're still a client of mine to this day. So 4 years later, I'm still working with them. But again, it enhances that experience because I remember when I did that first contract for them, I thought it had to be perfect. We all think things have to be perfect when working with clients. The videos, the editing, everything, right? So obviously, we want to put together a proposal and a contract that hits every single point, and we feel extremely confident when we send it off to obviously get paid and work with this client. But in reality, now we have something that we can hand it off to and make it even better and not spend as much time as we normally would and have it done in minutes compared to hours. So let's talk about the problem, common pitfalls. Undervaluing your services. How many of you guys feel like right now in this room, you are not getting paid what you deserve? Raise your hand. High. 80% of freelancers leave money on the table by undercharging for their expertise. Study shows that professionals who undersell their services earn 40% less than market rates and struggle to scale their business. This creates a dangerous cycle of overwork and burnout. Based off what I just said, who else is experiencing this right now in this moment? Complex contracts. Unclear agreements scare off potential clients. Many freelancers report losing deals due to overwhelming paperwork, while 65% face payment disputes due to contract ambiguity. Traditional contracts often contain confusing legal jargon that damages client trust. Has anyone ever sent a contract and the client gets back to you and is like, I don't understand? Anyone? Because I have. I've done this whole ring around with contracts. Something that I used in the past that I found instead of making them was Rocket Lawyer. Anyone ever use Rocket Lawyer? No? Rocket Lawyer? Yeah. So that's something that I resorted to before I started using AI to leverage pricing proposals and contracts. Complex contracts really throws off clients. I've raised my hand too. I've had experiences where clients reach out to me and instead of telling me that they signed, there's a problem. And this is something that you want to avoid because you want to get these guys to sign as fast as possible, not because you're money hungry or looking to get the payment immediately, because more times than not, you're usually taking a deposit up front, not getting the full payment. As much as we all love to get the full payment, it's just not the case in a majority of situations. Again, something that I've already emphasized is the time-consuming process, hours wasted on manual contract creation, pricing calculations, drain productivity. The average professional spends 12 plus hours per month on administrative tasks like contract writing, pricing negotiation. This lost time could be better spent serving clients or growing the business or finding more leads or getting on the phones. You guys all know what exactly you could be doing and you're not because you're spending your time on BS activities like trying to put together the most perfect proposal and contract. You all with me? Yeah. Okay, cool. Oh, this is the next one. All right, so we're going to talk about 3 main points, as you guys see on the screen: swift drafting, optimal pricing, user-friendly. This bot is powerful. Like I said earlier, Clayton has been grinding till 2, 3 in the morning every single day, not only working within the back end of our business, but also creating things like this that are going to help us in the end. And I promise you, coming in the next years, my prediction is that a lot of things that people struggle with, whether it's for your personal brand as a videographer, client relations, stuff like contracts and templates, coming up with the best pricing proposal, even video creation stuff, scripting, ideating, thumbnail ideas, all this stuff, we're going to be able to have AI bots and assistants and not have to pay them anything. The time that it takes is time that's spent one time to actually create them. And it's not like we're paying it. I mean, I pay, I guess, for GBT, it's $20 a month. But again, this is something that we have access to and it's something that we need to leverage. So let's talk about why. Swift drafting. So professional contracts in minutes, not hours. Advanced templates based on successful deals is something that we fed it. Automatic clause customization. And again, this is stuff that we're going to get into when I get into the examples that I've already written up, and then we're also going to do examples from your guys' situations, see how much detail we can actually get from this thing live demo. Real-time legal compliance checks. Again, a lot of the information that we have access to feed it is a lot of the stuff on the internet, that being legality stuff, which obviously we have access to. We have access to everything on the internet. Built-in revision tracking and version control. Let's talk about optimal pricing. So the optimal pricing thing is obviously a big part of this because who knows how to price perfectly? Anyone? Every situation, every situation is different. Every client is different, what they need is different, and we are obviously all trying to sell to their KPIs what exactly their objective is when coming to us or we approach them with our services. How can we help them, right? And it's always going to be different. We all want to think that this price is the right price, but again, this is something that everyone struggles with. This is what I struggled with for years. I still probably don't even know if the pricing I have for myself and the clients I work with is perfect. But I know it's optimal because it makes sense based off everything that I lay out and the situation that I'm given with the client. And this, again, is something that you can feed it, very specific, entire situation, top to bottom, specific details, what the client does, their industry, their niche, budget conversations. You can even record with Firefly the conversations that you're having and feed it to Firefly and have it get summary notes and take those summary notes and put it into the pricing and the contract bot. You can automate this process entirely. Instead of having to type the whole situation, maybe you have the conversation, lay out everything with the client, take that summary from Firefly AI and throw it into the pricing and contract bot. I didn't even have that planned. I just thought of that. Again, just automating systems that we struggle with and spend way too much time on as creators, business owners, doesn't matter what situation. So as far as the optimal pricing, the data-driven calculations for confident negotiation, this thing has market rate analysis from multiple sources, dynamic pricing recommendations, competitor benchmarking insights, profit and margin optimization tools. This thing is packed. I'm not lying to you. And we will show it live demonstration. Also, it's user-friendly, intuitive interface for seamless operation. Like I said, you guys all have experience using AI, so it's nothing that you haven't seen before. Step-by-step guided process, which we're going to do together. Customizable dashboard views, mobile response design, 24/7 AI-assisted support coming with ChatGPT. So let's move on to the next slide here. I think this is going to be the live demo slide. Okay, perfect. So is that showing all the way? No. Okay. So we're going to do live demo now. I did put some points in here just to kind of give us a base understanding of, before we actually jump into the live demo, we're going to do some of these points that I want to get into. So again, we all know and understand that the more specific the prompt, the more detail of the overall situation that you have with the specific client. Begin by entering the essential project information, including client details, scope of work, timeline requirements, and any special considerations that you feel like stand out. Our smart form adapts to your inputs, ensuring no critical details are missed. Company information, project scope, deliverables, time spent that you're going to be driving to the place that you're shooting, gas, everything. Timeline expectations and deadlines, budget parameters, and requirements. So again, the more details, the better. Whatever you can get out of the client that's going to be able to help you in this, when you input it, the better. Generate content. Let me scroll this down. Generate content. Watch as our AI engine analyzes your inputs and industry data to create customized documentation. The system leverages market insights and historical data to optimize pricing while crafting legally sound contract terms, stuff that we already went over. So review and sign. Take advantage of our streamlined approval process. Review automatically highlighted key terms. Make any necessary adjustments that you feel like. So AI is not perfect, right? We all know that. We've all put in prompts in and gotten whatever response out of it. And even for me, some of my prompts can be better, but some of the responses that it does give me is great. But sometimes I have to go in and spend time changing some of the stuff, right? So that's completely fine. And let's just dive into a live demo now. So right here, I wrote together 3 different examples. I wrote a lower ticket coffee shop example, a mid-ticket real estate brokerage, and also a higher ticket car dealership example. So We can run through all these examples. I try to be as specific as possible, not to myself, but just to maybe someone's general situation, not specific to me or any of you guys, just kind of general. So the first example is I'm approaching a local coffee shop near where I live. I started taking my videography business serious about 6 months ago. I have some decent equipment and enough knowledge to know when I saw their social media profiles, they need my help with content. With that being said, I approached the coffee shop and offered to do a free video to show my skills and also get my foot in the door. Afterwards, I made sure to grab the contact info from the barista to send the content to the owner or decision maker. After exchange of conversations with the decision maker and they expressed that they liked my videos, I now knew I needed to construct a pricing proposal and come up with a pitch as well, and also a contract. Based on the context I've given you, please create not only my pricing proposal specific to my situation, but as well as a coffee shop. So I'm just gonna copy this into the bot. So now, again, before I dive into this, let's think about this. Let's say you're taking a planned day to either do cold calls, cold approaching businesses in person, cold emails, whatever the case may be, however you like to approach potential clients or when you're trying to find new clients. Let's say you set an appointment, multiple appointments, you go to a business, do a free video for them, whatever the case may be. Imagine punching in an info like that. Imagine Firefly, you recorded the convo with the barista or the actual decision maker, whatever you can collect. Firefly records conversations, gives you AI summaries and bullet points to the conversation. However you want to approach this, and you guys just saw me punch in the information, so let's go through this. Contextual analysts, client needs, the coffee shop needs, engaging video content to enhance their online presence, likely focusing on social media engagement and showcasing their products and atmosphere. You're building your portfolio and have decent skills and equipment, which is suitable for capturing high quality content for small businesses. Local coffee shops typically operate on tighter budgets. We all know this, right? Coffee shop's not gonna pay you guys a 10K retainer. Pretty self-explanatory. Compared to larger businesses, making affordability and clear ROI critical. So let's see what it spit out as far as pricing tiers. So we have, for $7.50 a month, 2 short form videos, 30 to 60 seconds each. In my eyes, these would probably be 30 seconds to just show the atmosphere, employees, show people, buying coffee, kind of thing like that. Definitely more B-roll, high energy. You guys get the picture of what I'm saying for those. Professional editing with music, text overlays, color correction. One pre-production planning session, probably for this one, it doesn't say, but probably one shoot. Maybe you guys would do multiple shoots for $7.50 a month, but for me, I'm going one shoot on this. Definitely optimized for Instagram and TikTok, maybe even YouTube Shorts, if that's something discussed in the plan. It says ideal for businesses testing the impact of video content. Let's go through the second one. $1,500 a month, 4 short form videos, so 1 a week, showcasing menu items, barista talent, behind the scenes processes, 1 mini documentary, 2 minutes on the story of the coffee shop with the owner and or barista interviews. I feel like something that would be sick is like a brand story video for a coffee shop with the owner and including some of the employees talking about why they love it there, the atmosphere, why they feel like people should come and get coffee from there as compared to like the Starbucks next door. Up to 2 filming sessions, probably 2 days of the month for this package, in my opinion. Social media strategy consultation, basic guidance on posting schedules and hashtags, 2 rounds of revisions per video, ideal for businesses actively building a brand presence online. Premium package, $2,500 per month, 6 short form videos per month, including new menu promotions, customer testimonials, and creative ads. How many of you guys are working with clients right now and don't have like a set category of videos that you're delivering per month?
You mean like say that's a package or?
Set category. So in this example, it's saying 6 short form videos per month, and it's saying new menu promotions, customer testimonials, and creative ads. You guys understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'll give an example of myself. When I was working with the spine pain and management group, the categories that I gave myself with them that they were definitely on board with was their doctor biography videos for their website, Obviously, patient testimonials. That guy had procedures done with them to, for potential people looking to do a procedure with them, landing on their website, seeing patients who've had, procedures done by them, and the progress of the pain, because again, it's a pain management group. And then outside of that is they were actually opening new buildings in the Valley. They went from 2 buildings when I first started working with them to, I think, 6 or 7 now. And one of those categories of videos was also the process of building a new building, grand opening, and showing, showcasing the whole new lobby, all their new procedural setups and stuff like that. So something I like how it did here is it gives you categories that you can pitch on the videos. Like, hey, we're going to do 6 videos a month. They're going to be new menu promotions, customer testimonials, and creative ads. And this is just giving you ideation ability. And the client can always bounce back with different ideas or things that they're actually specifically wanting as far as categories for content for their business. One feature-length video, 3 minutes, detailing the coffee shop's value, story, and community involvement, a little bit like the previous one. Unlimited filming sessions, that's crazy.
Do you agree with the money, like the per month? Like, do you think, like?
Yeah, because you're not doing unlimited filming sessions here, obviously. That's pretty much a given. I would say for this, you would maybe need maybe 3 shoots. You could probably knock it all out in 2 shoots. Advanced motion graphic animations, monthly content performance review.
Do you think like the $2,500 a month is like reasonable, or do you think that's like?
I'm talking about a coffee shop.
Oh yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean? So.
I forgot that was the
No,
topic.
it's okay.
Yeah, sorry, coffee shop.
Personally, I think it depends, right? Again, this is why it's hard to say anyone can perfect the pricing, because every business is going to be different. You could probably take 6 videos in one long form video to a business, 7 videos total, 3 shoots a month, maybe 2 if you can squeeze that. Less time on the shooting aspect and having to drive there, and then maybe pitch 2,500. You know what I mean? But again, we're talking about a coffee shop. So let's look at this. Optional add-ons, expedited turnaround, 15% of package price, additional videos, $250 per additional short form video, extended production, multiple locations, $500 per additional location, advanced graphics, $300 per video for custom animations. I told you guys at the beginning of this, I have a lot of experience in events, and something I have practiced is one of the add-ons I always offer, especially if it's an event or something that takes multiple days to shoot, or maybe it's a client who has expressed their want for raw footage, is I would charge 20% of the deal, the total deal, for a hard drive with all the raw footage uploaded to give to them. Don't know who's practicing that, who's not. It's been a nice little add-on in most of my deals in the last 4 years. Contract terms, so let's look at this. Services provided, says this agreement is entered into as of date by and between your name / business name referred to as videographer and coffee shop name referred to as client. Services provided, lays it all out, fees and payment, lays that all out, deliverables, revisions, always have stuff for revisions in your contracts. Who has gotten screwed with revisions? I had a client one time, I shot an event in Newport Beach at the VIA, VEA, it's a really nice hotel. And I'm not gonna name any names, but it's a pretty well-known client. She's a freaking huge speaker. She has like 500,000 followers on Instagram. I did their event, it was a 3-day event, and I was doing one big event video recap, about 3.5 minutes long. And I shit you not, I probably had like 200 revisions total. And this is actually a good example of a revision contract mess up. Because I didn't have revisions in the contract, this client specifically felt like that they could ask for however many revisions they wanted. At that point, I was like, damn, bro, you should have made the video yourself. So at that point, I was like, yo, man, this is way too many revisions. I'm gonna have to charge, X amount extra, for the next set and the next set, like however long we kept going. Probably did like 10 different sets. And every single set, it was just, I had to write notes in a notebook at one point to like try to lay it all out from the voice memos he was sending me on iMessage. And it was a nightmare. Long story short, when I mentioned that I was gonna be charging extra for these revisions, he told me that he gave me choice. He was like, you can charge me for the revisions, Or if you don't charge me for the revisions, I'll actually go out and give you as a referral to other business owners that I know. And he's like, but if you don't, then you can consider this bridge burned and I'll pay for the revisions.
Wow.
Real story.
Ultimatum.
Real story. In short, I did the revisions and didn't charge them. Felt like the relationship was definitely more worth than burning that bridge and getting paid for those revisions. It was a pain in the ass. I didn't specify on the contract. It was my fault. So that's why I feel like it's definitely important to have revisions, which is what it has right here. Additional revisions billed at $50 per hour. Better frame, in my opinion, is charging per set revisions. So instead of hour, because how are they going to be able to track your hours spent on revisions? Each set of revision, whether you finish in 10 minutes or 1 hour, same price across the board. Better in my opinion. Ownership and usage, cancellation and rescheduling, liability, indemnification, governing law, entire agreement, signatures, and yeah. What do you guys think of this example for the coffee shop? Yeah? Let's do the real estate brokerage. Let's read this overview. This proposal is designed to address the real estate brokerage's needs for consistent and engaging social media content tailored for their top 5 agents by showcasing their listings, creating agent-specific brand content. This package will enhance their online presence and expand their reach to potential home buyers. Okay. So let me read the prompt first. The prompt says, I have been running my videography business for 2.5 years. I'm looking to work with a real estate client and I found a local brokerage near me. I went to the website and saw they have tons of agents selling homes. With that being said, I came up with an idea to present a short form content package that would cover the brokerage's top selling agents because I already know they're selling homes and they probably aren't doing client. I researched all their social medias and noticed that all their stuff is lacking. If these agents understood that creating and posting compelling content consistently for the homes that they're selling, they would have a larger reach to potential buyers. With that, please create me a short form content pricing proposal for 5 different agents for this real estate brokerage, and as well as the contract for the deal. So let's see. So it's saying package deliverables per agent, monthly. Let's see. Let's break this down first. Monthly video content, pre-production, production, post-production, analytic reviews. So base pricing, monthly fee per agent, $1,200, covers 4 videos, pre-production, filming, and post-production. Total for 5 agents, $6K a month. Let's go through this. Optional add-ons, payment terms. So $300 per additional video beyond 4 per agent. That's great to have in there, especially in the contract, because if someone says they want an extra video that month, you best believe you're getting paid for that. Drone footage, expedited, and drone footage is great because it's real estate. And then it's homes. Expedited turnaround, advanced graphics, agent profile video. Agent profile video is a banger, especially if they put those on their website, and that's $1,000 per agent. And if you're trying to target their top 5 selling agents, that's $5K separate from this deal right there. Monthly analytical reviews, payment terms, monthly retainer, base package, due at the start of each month, add-ons invoiced separately as needed. Benefits the brokerage, expands higher reach, high quality content will attract more buyers, generate more engagement for listings. Agent branding, highlighting the expertise of the top performing agents, specifically setting them apart from their competitors. Cost efficiency. Yeah, bro, like if I can go to a real estate brokerage and go to their website and go to their social media, look at other ones and see that they're top agents, and how do you know you're going to be looking at the top selling agents on a real estate brokerage, right? For me, it's going to be the first people I see on the website. They want to show the younger faces, right? The pretty girls, the handsome men. Those are typically who they're going to be showing, and specifically to this situation, I'm going to find their social medias and see what they're posting, and that's going to tell me whether or not, as I'm going brokerage to brokerage, seeing who's actually taking advantage of short form content and content in general. Cost efficiency by bundling services for multiple agents, the brokerage saves on individual production costs, and then here is the contract. So let's talk about this really quickly. What do you guys think about this pricing structure? Because I gave it a specific prompt here, right? Talking about 5 different agents, their top selling ones, and I want to pitch that because if I know that they're the top selling agents, the brokerage also knows that those are the people who are most likely going to be selling the homes. and you're pitching content for all 5 of them. What do you guys think about the price?
Pretty reasonable.
Yeah?
I would say more.
So we're talking 4 videos for 5 people.
Only for videos.
Needs more.
More videos?
More money.
More money.
One video per person.
Yeah, per person. We're talking about their top 5 selling agents. He said more money.
I work with basically only agents right now.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, you're going to do a lot of work for those videos. 6K is going to start to feel like pretty quick.
So it's good. He said more money. Yep.
I got a question for about the 50%. When you're, the other 50% being at completion of work, is that 50% of the full term of the contract, or is that you're getting paid twice?
Are you talking about, where exactly are you talking
So
about?
let's say, in the previous one, you talked about like 50% up front.
Oh, gotcha.
50%
Yes.
completion work.
Yeah.
So is that, let's say you do a 1-year contract, and let's say you're at $36,000 a year, so it's $3,000 a month. Is that going to be, let's say, what's half of that? 17.5.
Mhm.
Would that be 17.5 up front, or would it be just 1,500 every 2 weeks, or like?
Tell me what you're doing right now. Are you taking deposits up front?
No. I'm
should
just
be.
asking about that.
Oh, you're asking about that?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So
I
let's
mean-
say, so that's the question is, would it be 50% of the full term, or 50% in the beginning stages, like, so in other words, you get paid twice a month?
Oh, I see what you're saying. If they want to
Yeah.
sign 3 months. Is that what you're saying? Like if it was 6K at 3 months and they wanted to sign so 18K? Is that what you're saying?
Sorry, no. So let's say you have an agreement for 1 year,
Okay.
$36,000, $3K a month.
Yeah, I see what you're saying now. Sorry.
But with the question is, would you charge 50% up front based upon 36,000? So that you're taking 18,000 up front, or would it be 50% initially based upon that month?
This is a great question. I think it's going to be specific. I feel like if it's a client that you have established a relationship with and that they would feel comfortable with, paying you half of 36,000 up front, then yes. If this is someone new, you want to keep this low risk for them.
Right.
You want them to feel like, damn, like what he's telling me is going to bring a lot of value and more money to my business. That being said, if you're only asking half deposit for that first month, first couple months, each month, it feels lower risk to them than asking for half of 36 for the whole entire year, because things can come up, you can get sick, they got to schedule things around, you know what I mean? Like there's just a lot of different issues that could come up, and where it's like, damn, like I wish I didn't give them the half up front, but it just goes by month. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you said more money. So you like the amount of deliverables, but you feel like there should be more money involved.
Yeah, you could get 5K per head, honestly, just for the introduction videos on each agent, because if each agent's going to sell, you're just multiplying the amount of relationships.
And this is real estate we're talking about too.
And honestly, one brand story per agent for 5K is reasonable.
Yeah.
It's not enough to full-blown production, but you can make money with them. And
Yeah.
so then you go into the additional add-ons, and then you can probably get 8K per agent and go from there.
I'm on the same page as you, and see how he was able to just have it laid out in front of him, see the price, and already come up with ideas on how he can make it better and more fitting to his situation, because it's already laid out. People most of the time are struggling with getting to even to this point with this number. It's like, okay, all these things are laid out, all the deliverables, but how am I going to come up with this number? Is this the right number? He knows this is not the right number. He knows he can get more.
How much do you think you can get? How much were you thinking for?
Depends on how much they're selling. I mean, if they're
Depends on the brokerage for sure.
Yeah, if they're a top agent, you can probably get 8 to 10K per agent, easy, on retainer.
And again, this is something that we talk about a lot. If you haven't heard it, performance. Prove it to them. Do it for free for a month. Literally stand by what you are telling them. Talk your shit. Be like, yes, I can help you sell more homes with my content. You want me to prove it to you? Okay, I'll prove it to you, but by the end of this deal, you're going to give me X amount of percentage and X amount a month for the retainer. Makes sense?
All right, so we're going to kick things off. This is Clayton. He's very, very talented at what he does. He's gotten extremely deep with AI. I know that you all have probably seen or heard about AI as far as the whole craze about it a year, 2 years ago. And then I feel like it died off a little bit. And I kind of just yeah, it is what it is. And then I saw kind of how deep he was going with it. I started leveraging it, and just the data that it's able to process and how it implements into our business has been insane. Clayton's going to dive into it. That's part of the reason why with one of the clients that he has, he was able to scale him from 0 to 500K in only a couple months. Like he mentioned earlier, he went and took 40% of that for the performance that he did because he basically spun it up from nothing. So I'm sharing that with you guys because he works with me. I give him a percentage of my business. He's really good at what he does. Sales manager, data manager. He doesn't love the term sales manager, but data manager. And data is extremely important when you're going and running a business because when you can make data-driven decisions, it's always going to benefit you and be better off. So that's been like the biggest shift for us, and especially when going out and pitching people. I just recently, along with Presley, signed a $25,000 a month retainer with a new client, which is our biggest retainer. And the reason I was able to go do that is not just because of our track record, but because of the data I was able to take from this client over the course of the 2 days that I was with him, asking him questions, knowing what questions to ask, feeding all that data into ChatGPT, and then processing that data and then spitting it out so that I could go and make a pitch that catered to him, that was performance focused. And then when it came to signing the retainer, he was like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense, right? So I'm excited for what he's going to share with you guys. This is where the fun starts to elevate. We're going to go deep, so make sure you guys are paying attention because you will miss it if you're not. And yeah, he's just going to go really deep. That's all I'm going to say. So
thank you.
Shout out Clayton. Love you all.
All right, well, first thing I want to do is just, all of you guys have taken the time to come here. I know, I apologize, I forget your name, but you drove all the way from Chihuahua, Mexico for 10 hours, is that right? So I really want to congratulate all of you guys. You guys have taken the step to go ahead and put the time, effort, and energy to get here and learn something. And I don't want to get too far into it. I might get a little emotional if I do, but I was certainly not where you guys are right now when I was younger. I was 17, 18, and I was around the wrong people, getting into the wrong kinds of things, and the trajectory for where my life was going was not down the right path. So the reason I want to go over that is you guys took the time, effort, and energy to all come together, and this is a great group of people right here. You guys have to leverage those relationships and build equity within all of your guys' time spent together. So I just want to shout you guys out for coming in here and making a really big decision, because that's what most people don't do, is take that first step. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is the art of closing. This is sales. Most people need to get better at sales. Your problems aren't, oh, do I know sound effects? Oh, do I know Lightroom? Oh, do I know how to operate this camera? Most of you guys here are going to be 99% better than all of the businesses out there because their expertise isn't video. Otherwise, that's what their business would be built around. So you have to understand that you have a skill that you can provide, but people aren't going to just look out for you. You have to go into these businesses, convey value, and then ask them for something for that value that you convey. So let's dive into this. I want to go into the story of Alex, not Alexander. He's the sales rep here at Optima. Don't let him sell you. This guy will hawk you down. I promise you that. Why do you think he's standing here right now? But I want to go into Alex, the undervalued creative, right? So first, there's a guy named Alex, incredibly talented, yet constantly underpaid. He charged $500 per project, stuck hopping from job to job. His work was stunning, but his problem wasn't quality. It was his inability to sell himself. For all of you guys here, how many of you have been in those shoes? That you have really, really good, no, all of you guys should be raising your hands, really, really, really good skills, but you can't sell, right? So this is Alex right here. Everyone knows it's me. They don't know how good at videography I am. You got the dealerships, you got the influencers, the athletes, the real estate agents. You guys just think that you're going to somehow magically concoct 10 clients right in your lap because you're good at videography. Every single one of you guys is good at videography for the most part, but most of you guys aren't good at sales. So what do you need to actually go ahead to land clients? You need to understand, how do I convey value so then I can go land these clients? Stop being Alex, right? Cool. So Alex actually isn't just some random person. Alex isn't just someone who is just a random example here. Alex is actually someone in this room right now. It was someone in this room, and it may still be someone in this room. And the biggest breakthrough through Alex wasn't through videography. It was through mastering sales and learning how to communicate value. Who's Alex? Cam. Cam was Alex. Cam was someone who was homeschooled his whole life. The first time I met Cam, he was like socially awkward. He couldn't talk to a wall. The wall would run away from him. He really couldn't talk to anyone. He was a very weird guy. I love Cam. I don't know where he is right now. He's not in the room. He's probably knew I was going to say this, but he sucked at talking to people. Very weird person. And I love him. He's like a brother to me, but he didn't know how to talk to people. And so once he realized, hey, I'm actually not half bad at videography, which initially, he would say this himself, he kind of sucked. He kind of sucked at videography. But then he started to focus more on sales and how to go and develop his ability to speak to these businesses and convey the value that he could potentially reap for these businesses. Then that's actually when he started to be able to go ahead and land clients. And so, again, he went from socially awkward to building a $105,000 a month videography agency. From zero to 19 months, he went from 0 to 105K in 19 months, right? That's how long have you guys been in videography? How many of you, please raise your hand if you've been in videography for over 19 months? Any of you guys close to those numbers?
Oh, wait, sorry.
No, absolutely not. So that's not because you guys aren't good videographers. It's because you guys don't know how to convey the value that you have to provide these businesses, right? And so once you learn how to do that, then you can start to scale to those. I'm not going to ensure that you're going to get to 105K a month, but you can start to actually scale and land clients through your guys' main skill, your primary skill being videography, right? So again, what's the missing link? Right here. This is the missing link. You have your sales skills are non-existent. You're great at sound design. You're great at video. You're great at scripting, framing. Maybe it's other skills that you're extremely good at. And these are valuable skills. These are skills that these businesses need. But you suck at sales. And so that's the missing link when it comes down to everything. And your sales skills keeps you in the room and gets you a signed deal. Without it, you're gone. You're never going to be in that room again. All right, so how many of you, and raise your hands, feel like you're charging less than you're worth? And how many of you feel awkward when you're pitching your services? I should see a lot of hands right now. Okay, most of the people in the room. You're not alone, as you guys just saw. Most creatives feel the same way. Most creatives are not good at sales. Most creatives are good at being creative, right? That's why businesses hire you. But businesses only hire you when they know that you have value that you can provide to these businesses. Otherwise, they're just throwing money into an incinerator, right? So you have to be able to convey your creative value to that business. Here's the harsh truth. If you're not closing deals, your videography skills don't matter. You might as well be the best kept secret in the industry. When you look at people who are greats of this time, right now that we are aware of, it's people who know how to sell themselves. If you look at Kanye West, whether you like him or not, he knows how to get his face in the room. He knows how to stay in that room. He knows how to have the whole room look at him. Whether you like him or not, and not to be political, I'm pretty apolitical personally, but Donald Trump, he knows how to get in the room, convey a lot of people to center themselves and their attention on him, provide value for potential people in those rooms, and then walk away with the deal, right? Now, when you look in the past, there's so many people like Friedrich Nietzsche, one of the best philosophers of all time. No one knew of him. No one. There's so many people that are exemplary of that. There's, I think, Van Gogh, no one really knew of him. And there's so many other greats that you guys know of now that no one knew of during their times because they didn't know how to sell themselves and their value that they could provide the world. This is actual data that we've collected, and it goes over what the current challenges are with scaling people's videography businesses. So when we look through this, getting leads, finding clients, right? So that's market research. That is sales. People think that it's a marketing thing, but what it really boils down to from my personal perspective is sales, because you guys all have the capability of walking into any business. That's not marketing. It doesn't take, oh, I have to go out and post ads or do this. Yes, that is an aspect of marketing, but you guys can all walk into any business. There's nothing stopping you. So I think that getting leads and finding clients is more of a sales problem. It's more of a market research problem. Closing deals and client acquisition, obviously that's sales. And then pricing and contracts. And it doesn't say contracts there, but there's another data set that I have that states that pricing contracts is supposedly like 86.7% of people's problems that filled out our survey. And the whole point here is pricing isn't the problem. You guys don't suck at pricing. I know that Ben went over this earlier. You guys don't suck at pricing. You don't feel confident in pricing yourself to these businesses because you don't know the value that you're actually providing them, right? So we're gonna go through that. So I want to talk about something here. Most people nowadays don't realize that sales isn't about being pushy or manipulative. Sales isn't, oh, hey, let me, where's your wallet? Can I have your money? No? Okay. See, that's not sales, right? Sales is actually showcasing the value that you can bring, clearly communicating that, and standing firm on what your ask is. A lot of you guys know the value that you have for these businesses, and I think that it's more so the confidence for the ask. You don't understand entirely what the value is, and so once you do, then you can go ahead and be very, very, very firm in what your ask is. And so when I go ahead and I take 40% of someone's entire business, initially they lose their mind. But they're at 7K right now. I took that client that they were talking about from 7K to 135 grand a month in roughly 3 months. So would you rather have 60% of 135 grand, or would you rather have 100% of 7 grand? Right? It's an easy way to propose the value that I bring, and that's how you guys have to walk into these businesses. Having case studies. If you don't have any case studies right now, fine, then do a lot of market research. Figure out what their problems are. Go and ask them their problems. And we're going to go into that a little bit more in depth here in a moment. Now, first of all, I want to hear from you guys specifically. You guys are videographers. I'm not a videographer. What is the main thing that you guys feel like is keeping you from closing deals? And don't be afraid. I want to hear.
I'd say limiting beliefs.
Okay, that was a big one within some surveys. I see you back there.
Objections.
Okay, perfect. We're going to go over that.
Feeling like they aren't, if your client can afford you or not.
Avoid you.
Like afford you.
Oh, afford you. Gotcha, okay. And you had your hand up.
Imposter syndrome.
Okay, that's a big one for sure. And lastly, you had your hand
I was
up.
gonna say like not thinking I have enough time to go after all these clients.
How many clients you have?
It's more so like the load of work that I have like always backed up.
Okay, gotcha. And the reason I asked that question is because people will tell me that they have one client. Maybe. So there's a lot of bullshit that you sell yourselves to not go out and sell. Now, one thing I want to talk about is most videographers don't know how to target and close their ideal clients, right? So actually doing proper market research, figuring out what the pain points are of these businesses that you're going out and talking to. Most people don't understand what that looks like. So we're going to dive into that a little bit. And most of you guys are casting your net a little bit too wide, targeting everyone and no one. And so what I mean by that is if you're targeting everyone, you're not targeting anyone. Because you're willing to pitch yourself to anyone. You have to be very, very strict with the people that you go and pitch. I have 3 clients right now. I don't need any more. I can't do any more, right? So that's one thing. And I have other people who are wanting me to be a client of theirs, and I can't. So you need to understand that as well, and that kind of touches on what you said back there. Right, so what is sales? I'm going to go through the process of what it actually looks like for sales, and then we're going to do a live demo of an AI model that I trained off of thousands of data sets, and then we're going to do a live demo with this man who's texting on his phone over here, Mr. Kyle King Williams, on a client that he outreached, and he's going to kind of talk on some of the benefits that he's seen recently through the application of the AI that I'm going to go through. But first of all, in terms of what sales looks like, and any of you guys who have notes or your phone or whatever, I think if you're not good at sales, you should certainly get that out and write this down. So first of all is knowing your clients before they know you. If you don't know your clients and you go into their businesses or you go into a conversation with them and you don't know what their problems are, you don't know what they're selling, you don't know how you could possibly be of value to them, then what are you doing? Like, you're going in there with no market research. That makes no sense at all, right? So that's the first thing, is doing really, really good high-level market research. All right, so we're going to go into this a little bit. We don't have to go over every single point here, but again, understand their businesses, the industry, and decision makers, right? If you go into a business and you know everything about their business, but you're speaking to some front desk lady, she doesn't care. She doesn't care to hear what you guys have to say. So you going through and having this thorough research for all of these people, but you're talking to a front desk lady, she's not the decision maker. She couldn't give a shit, honestly. She's getting paid $15 an hour, and she's providing value, great. But she's not the one who operates the business. So that's a very crucial point, is finding the decision makers. And if you guys want to look through, some of these, I'll give you guys 10 seconds, 20 seconds to kind of look through that, but you guys are capable of reading. I don't have to read it off for you. Now, 2 is make the first move the right way. If you go into these businesses without any market research and you just walk in looking to have a conversation with them, or maybe you're online and you're looking to DM someone and say, hey, I saw your content a little bit and want to be a videographer for you, they don't care to hear that. So many people do that. When it comes down to Presley and Cam's clients, they have clients who have had 10, 20, 50, 100, maybe even 1,000 videographers. Go ahead and outreach them. Who did they choose? Presley and Cam. And it's because they've done their market research and they've made the first move the right way, right? And sometimes that looks like flying out all the way to Miami, going ahead and putting all of this work into someone that you don't know that you're going to be able to land, right? But that's all calculated, educated decisions, and that's something that I don't suggest everyone doing. But whole point being, make the first move the right way. Now, step 3 is discovery. When you go and you have conversations with these businesses, stop trying to pitch yourself immediately out of the gate. If someone comes into, let's say, your business, hey, I want this, I want this, I want this. I'm going to be your videographer, but I want this, right? They don't care to hear that. You have to go in and ask questions to uncover the opportunities within their business. When you go and you ask questions and you find out what their problems are, you find out what is your bottleneck, what is keeping you from getting more leads, what is keeping you from having more sales, then you can actually have that data to go and pitch these people. Right? So we have the problem. Those are the questions. You want to have a lot of questions on problems. What kind of problems do you guys have? And guys, these are business owners. They want their problems solved. For whatever reason, people think, oh, if I go into this business and I ask them, hey, what are your problems? They're going to be weird. No. I have problems within my business. Everyone has problems within their business. If someone came to me and asked high-level questions through their market research of the problems that I have, and they noted that down, then they'd be like, okay, cool, so you have these problems? All right, now, what impact are those problems having on your business, Clayton? Oh, well, it's having this problem. This problem is having this impact. This problem is having this impact. Okay, cool. And what do you want? What do you want from your business? What's your desired outcome, right? And getting a lot of information before you go ahead and try to sell them, right? So here's a little visual. You have to highlight what's missing after that. Once you have all of this information on the problems that they have and the impacts that has on their business, then you have to go ahead and highlight what's missing. And what's mostly missing in a lot of these businesses is really good content, which you guys are capable of making, right? So you go into your local mom and pop shop, right? You go into your local dealership. As Cam noted, they're still paying so much money on radio ads. All of us in the next 10, 20, 30 years, all of the people no longer going to be listening to the radio, right? So all of what you guys have to provide is what is missing, and I can go ahead and build this gap, right? So this is what we call building a gap. So again, be the solution that they need. Present your services as the bridge to the gap. So what you want to go through is this entire process of building this gap, and then you being the person to build the bridge to solve the gap, right? So it's, okay, where are you at? What problem do you have? What's the impact of that problem? And that's keeping them here at their current state. Say, okay, cool, where do you want to be at? Starting to build this gap here, right? And then you are the solution that bridges the gap through the services that you guys can provide them. And use tailored language that aligns with their goals. When you can go ahead and speak the lingo of these people, they love it. And real quick, with Kyle, he has a lot of experience in oil and gas, and he's currently in the process of talking to a client, or a prospective client, I should say, and he knows how to speak to their language. So any other videographer that goes in their business, he's about to ask for a $24K deal. Anyone else, they don't know how to speak to the language. They don't know it at all. So be very, very concise with tailoring your language, and be very good at your market research before you go into these businesses so you can tailor the language to their goals. I feel like there should be a picture there. I don't know. Step 7 is turn no into a yes. So I know one of you guys mentioned objections, right? Right back there. There we are. So objections, most of the time, objections are just pure bullshit, right? You can smell it a mile away. Oh, well, I just don't have the time for this. Right, like you don't have the time for this, that's why I'm going to do this for you. Right? Like there's so many bullshit objections that people try to tell you. And once you understand how to go ahead and navigate that and how to go and reframe that, then they're like, oh, shoot, like actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this is just limiting beliefs, going back to a point that, I think it was you. Yeah, limiting beliefs. Every business owner has limiting beliefs. They're human beings, right? That's a very crucial point, is they are human beings. Everyone has limiting beliefs. You got to reframe that. And then I think that is it for all of that. And then I want to go into a live demo of something that I have put a lot of time, effort, and energy into, and acquired a lot of data to provide within what I'm about to show you. So let me see here. Cam, how do I go from toggle mode to... Oh, okay, well, anyone else know how to go from toggle mode to get out of that toggle mode? Okay, there we are. Cool. Let me see. Awesome. Alrighty. So I want to go over this AI tool, right? I was talking to a few individuals over here about what I do. I manage several sales teams. I manage currently 3 sales teams, and I'm the only person in the business aside from the employees, the sales reps, etc. And I pretty much manage their entire business. I wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for things of this nature, and I've spent a lot of time into this. I would have to have probably 5 to 10 employees, and my margins would be complete shit if I wasn't able to have the leverage that this provides. So you have to consider leverage. Hiring is leverage. Content is leverage, right? So that's something that you guys have to be able to convey. But I want to go into an outreach that Kyle did over here. Now, what I'm going to show you is something that essentially gives you the direction that you need to go when you go ahead and try to approach a business, approach an influencer, approach any kind of person that you feel like you can convey value to then have an ask for, right? And so with that said, there's a lot that I could go into with this, but Kyle, if you want to come over here real quick, what Kyle did is he took a note-taking app called Fireflies. It's an AI note-taking app. And he went into a business, he cold approached them, just as much of you would, right? So he went into a business, he recorded the conversation, downloaded the transcript, and then provided that to me, so then I could implement that within this AI sales coach bot, right? This is directly actionable insights for his outreach, right, to this business.
If you guys don't have Fireflies, I highly suggest you get it. It is a game changer.
Massive, and it's free.
AI, right?
Fireflies, yeah, it's Fireflies Note Taker AI.
It's just a recording app. Turn it on. Put it in your pocket. You can turn your phone.
Question?
Same thing as Read AI.
Yeah.
Read AI, exactly.
Yeah.
Any AI note-taking app that can essentially transcribe your outreaches, whatever it is, you need to download them. Most of them are free. And for any business, if there's sales involved, which all businesses have sales involved, you can record these. I will say really important, and then I'll get to you. Really important is look up the laws within your states before you do this, because Arizona is a one-party consent state, which means I can go in and record, and since I'm a consenting party of being recorded, then I can go record. It doesn't matter. There are two-party consent state laws in some states, so I have to be very mindful of that.
Yeah, just on your car.
Or just send it.
Arizona's not.
What?
Arizona's not.
Arizona is one.
Oh, yeah, like, as in, like, it's, like, to be consent for two people.
No.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
So if you live in Arizona, you're golden goose.
Yeah.
Like, you can go record whatever you want to, pretty much.
Does this just transcribe your?
So all of what you see here, there's roughly, I went to a Google Doc, and there's roughly 62 pages of conversation between Kyle and this business owner that he went out to, right?
Does it take it like in really good?
No, so the note taker, real quick, the note taker, what it does is it transcribes everything for you. And so all I did was just copy paste this. It transcribes the whole conversation for you.
But you have to put it in a file.
No.
The recording.
The AI does it for you.
Everything.
Yeah.
Dude, that's just the beginning.
I got you.
There's a lot more to that.
Dude,
Yeah. So if we scroll down here, I prompted it, asking it a question for analysis and assessment of the cold outreach, and then providing actionable, applicable information for what Kyle can go ahead and do. And so if we scroll down again, it's very, very long conversation that we had.
yeah, it was a while.
Yeah.
About 2 hours.
No way.
So you recorded it on this app?
Yeah, I literally just
All right. Like,
And
turn
so
on in my pocket, walk your walk out, turn off.
exactly.
You got a
So
3-hour record time with Fireflies.
yep. Yeah, it's all free, completely free. So I'm gonna go through and it's gonna assess essentially, we don't have to read the entirety of this, but I want Kyle, and the reason he's up here is because this was his cold outreach. This is what he can speak on very intimately. And with this, it assesses everything that I just talked about. Rapport building, it talks about discovery, it talks about pain point exploration. It gives clear suggestions, as you guys can see here. So it says Kyle touches on the benefits of his services, but doesn't effectively contrast the current state to where the prospect's business with their potential state after working with him. So that goes back into the building the gap, right? He didn't go too deep into that. So the suggestion was paint a vivid before and after picture. That's exactly what I'm recommending you guys. And this tells you how to do it right after your cold outreach. Boom, transcribe it, boom, prompt it, and it's gonna spit this out.
If
Right.
you're anything like me, you guys walk into a conversation, you're like, I'm pitching this dude, I'm winning. And you walk in an hour and a half later, you have no idea what was talked about. You have no idea what he wants. You have no idea what you promised. And then you're just waiting for a call back, right? This is really going to put your asses in check. It is great.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I use for all of the sales reps within the teams that I manage. I've been able to toss, I think at one time there was 1,500 pages of call transcripts, and then analyze all of the data, analyze everything from that, and then go ahead and provide actionable insights to my sales reps saying, hey, like, Samuel, you need to get better at this. Like, you suck at this, but you're really, really, really good at this. I'm not just gonna tell you you suck, but here's a suggestion for what you should do. And then I work hands-on with him through my understanding and expertise within sales, providing him with those insights. But most people don't have, a sales coach that they can just go to, right? I'm sure none of you guys in here have some sales coach that you can just ring. I just went and cold approached this guy. I'm gonna try to vaguely assess what happened. No, like, this is perfected. This is really, really good. So it goes through gap building, gives him a score, pitching, objection handling, and then it gives you what Kyle said he did. Gives him actionable feedback, follow-up processes, educated attempts to close the deal. And then I ask it to provide a follow-up plan. I ask it to package together to re-engage this prospective client with an email, kind of encapsulating the conversation, right? So although Kyle might not have done a good job at assessing the pain points, assessing the problems within this business, this is all recorded. This is all then infilled into this, and it tells you exactly what it was. So even though in the moment you weren't able to maybe see what the problems were within this business.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way that you could use this is if you go in, you fumble an accident, you don't know what you say, whatever, there's a chance you might have lost the sale. You can come back, plug all this in, grab that information, and it will spit you out what you can do to go ahead and save that sale if you did a bad job. Like, it gave me immediate action items, where I then immediately after this followed up and was able to schedule a shoot the following week because of this. It's just unreal. And that was a bad pitch. I literally just drove by, I was like, I want to go check that place out. Literally turned it on, walked in, walked out 2 hours later. Didn't know shit about the business, didn't know anything about the set, like nothing. I genuinely just had a conversation with a business owner, walked out with this, and now I have a shoot set up. If you pair this with a valuable customer that you've done your market research on, you've done your sales strategy, you go in there with a purpose, imagine what you can do. I mean, it's limitless.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really big. And so with that, before we continue, how many of you guys say, oh, I need more clients? I know that there's businesses like Highline dealerships. I know that there's businesses that I can provide value to and get a decent return on that. How many of you guys know that but are just so afraid because you don't know what to say, you don't know how to plan that, you feel like you're gonna fumble, and you don't know what to do afterwards? Like, of all of you guys. Okay, so more than half of it, right? So this solves that problem. It drafted up a follow-up email, very, very high level, what I can bring to the table. Elevated brand presence, that's speaking to what is solving one of their problems. Enhanced customer engagement, measurable impact. I can help set up analytic tools to track how your social media drives foot traffic and sales, ensuring every piece of content is working for you. If you went into a business and you said that to them, they're gonna piss their pants. They're gonna be like, holy smokes, dude, there's been 17 other videographers that have came in here. All of them are just jargon, bullshit. What you just said, like, I'm ready to go. Where's the contract? Where do I sign? Provides them with next steps, tips for re-engagement. I asked further questions going off of, this was like a follow-up for email or SMS, whatever. This is in person. I asked it for in-person feedback, actionable insights for in-person follow-up. Prepare beforehand, provide some preparation for them to do. Follow-up visit. And it talks about warmly and mention the previous conversation example, great to see you again. I've been thinking about how we can make your business name shine even brighter online, and you don't have to use it word for word. Objection reframes. I asked it to go ahead and assess all of the objections or the possible objections that the business owner said. And through those objections and the awareness of that, provide me with the ability to reframe those into how I can provide your business value. So let's just kind of go through this. And Kyle, I know that this is your outreach, so you're gonna know a little bit more, but I wanna say most of these objections are what most of you guys hear, right? How many times have you guys heard, our budget is tight? I'm sure all of you guys have heard that.
How many guys are recording their own videos for TikTok by themselves on the phone?
Right, exactly.
Same problem with this.
Exactly, and so with that, the reframe is shift the focus from cost to ROI and long-term benefits of professional content. So the response that it provided is, I completely understand that budgeting is a priority, and that's why I focus on creating content that directly derives results. For instance, imagine 20% increase in client inquiries after a campaign showing your VIP card reveals. Those results more than pay for themselves. Would you like me to show you a quick example of how we can achieve that? Like, all of this is very, very insightful, applicable information that you guys can use and apply to land more clients. More objections, I'm already doing videos myself and they work fine. Response on how to handle that. I don't have time to deal with content creation. Like, dude, if someone says that, it's like, great, that's why I'm here, But a lot of people, they hear that and they're like, oh, shit, gotcha, let me leave, let me find the exit. No, you gotta figure out how you can reframe that belief and showcase the value, right? And so it just keeps on continuing through there. And I just have conversations with this like every single day. And so here, I ask you a really, really good one. Now, provide these insights into a naturally progressing ideal conversational flow that I can attempt to steer the client in when I go out in person to re-engage them and attempt to close this deal. And it's very interesting. So it goes through, obviously, you guys have to understand you're not going to perfect this. Like, there's going to be times where you go in and, you know, maybe you screw up the warm greeting or rapport, whatever it is. But it gives you a framework of exactly how you should go in. It's like, I used to play football. My coach didn't say, hey guys, like, we're just gonna go play this team. It's like, no, let's practice. Let's practice some more. And then after you're done practicing, we're actually gonna fucking practice more, right? And that's what you have to do with implementing this. You have to look exactly over all of this and then go into the business again. And if you use this whole framework right here, you're gonna land a lot of businesses. You're gonna then need the contract template. You're gonna need the template that Presley walked over in regards to systemizing, hiring, delegating, all of that. You're going to need that because then you actually have money coming into your pockets with too many clients, just like what happened with them. They had a referral, and then another referral, and then another referral, and then they're doing all of this work that they can't continue, so they have to hire it out, right? And that is what would happen if you actually apply all of the insights here.
One more thing I'd like to add, it struck me, is after I had this, I went back and with the transcript that I received from Fireflies, I made a quick to-do list of everything that we discussed in our previous conversation. It was a 2-hour conversation. When I gave him the list of everything we talked about, the points, what I needed to do, what he needed to do, what we talked about, if it's still an idea or move for this or that, it blew his damn head off. That I was able to retain the information that we discussed. Can you imagine having a conversation with somebody casually, seeing them a week later, and they're remembering every single detail? How would that make you feel? It's like you were listened to, special, paid attention. Like, okay.
Like he actually cares about it.
Exactly. And that's the whole point. You want to care about these people businesses. I mean, granted, you want to make money, but the goal here is to service the customer. This is a tool that's going to help you do it, like no other tool can.
Exactly. And I appreciate that a lot. Kyle, you can go sit down. I really appreciate that. I will get to you in a moment. But one thing before I go into questions, because I'll open it up to a Q&A, is we have a few students, a team being one of them, and you can just ready to sit there. But Hatim, how much knowledge, how much experience, how much time did you have with videography? Like, when did you start again?
Our first shoot was January this year.
January this year? Okay. And you had 0 videography, and it was on his iPhone. And what do you got right now?
We do between 9 and 12. I think we'll hit 15 this month.
Okay. So 9 to 12, potentially 15K, shoots off of his iPhone, started this year. That's probably more than a lot of you guys in this room. And I don't say that to discourage you. I say that to encourage you guys to go and learn sales. That's the main thing that you guys need to learn right now. Most of you guys, and this isn't anything against the team, most of you guys are probably better videographers than me.
Way better. Not even close.
Like,
I
way
don't know how camera works. I'm being dead serious. I don't know.
You only know how his iPhone works, is that? Yeah.
I don't know how the camera works.
But he's able to go ahead and go into these businesses because he knows how to sell them. And it's not just selling them in a manipulative, pushy, like, I'm going to sell some pie in the sky way. It's, hey, what's the problems with your guys' businesses? Okay, what kind of impact does it have on you? Okay, cool. How long have you been facing that problem? Okay, gotcha. How much money do you think that's cost you? All right. Where do you want to be in like 6 to 12 months? Like, where do you want to be if all those problems weren't there? Where do you want to be? Cool. And then he goes through the processes, and then he pitches them. And he has an iPhone. You know, I see many of you, especially right here, with thousands of dollars of camera equipment. It's not leveling up your equipment, it's leveling up the skills and the value that you can provide to these businesses. And then I think there's Khalil, he's unfortunately not here right now, but I know that he started roughly like 3 months ago. And I don't know, Presley, 2 months ago?
It was like 6 weeks ago.
Okay. So 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, he saw the series from Cam. He's like, dang, I think I can do that. Didn't have any videography experience, and now he's at what, 8K?
7.
Yeah. So I can promise you guys, it's not your videography skills. You need to learn how to convey value to these businesses. That's the main thing. So I'm gonna open it up here now. If anyone has any questions, I'm sure maybe some of that was lost in translation. I'm a little autistic, so. Yeah.
Khalil also, before he got into this, he was also in sales. He had sales.
Yeah, and that's
why he's been able to do it so fast. If you can go and build relationships and connect with people, you're gonna get clients so fast.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the key integral part that I almost missed is he has sales experience. He doesn't have videography experience, but he has sales experience. So,
can I come in for 1 second before you? Okay. So guys, I don't consider myself to be good at sales at all. Like, in the traditional sense, or I didn't think I was a salesperson. But with deals for our agency, you don't have to be an expert salesperson. You don't have to be super charismatic. You don't need to, do this elaborate pitch or, come up with these like 5 reasons why people have to, do this or do that. I just do market research, and that's my strength. I'm not into that. So I figure out exactly the kind of content that would work for the client. I put together a 10-minute Zoom video, and I say, hey, check out your YouTube channel. Based on what's working in this niche right now, these are the 10 videos I would film with you if you were a client. Let's book a call and talk more if you're interested. Got a referral a couple days ago. I was in a coffee shop with Cam. One of our clients is like, hey, this is Presley and Cam. They do a great job on my YouTube. This is Mike. He wants to work with you guys. He wants to blow up on YouTube. Got him in a group chat, sent him a Zoom video, 10 minutes breaking down, hey, here's what you can do with your YouTube channel. Here's what's working in your market right now. Let's hop on a call. He's like, great, let's go to something Monday. Got this on the calendar for 3 o'clock Monday. Not a salesperson. I just know how to do my research. So you have to find what that unique advantage is for you and just implement it.
Exactly. Conviction turns everyone into a salesman.
Well, and also exactly, that's very important is, I know people who don't have conviction in their offers and they're really good sales reps because they have charisma and all that, but it does not feel right selling bullshit. So you guys should know the skills that you have to offer and be very convicted on what kind of value you can provide. So that's one. And also, the thing is what I said is a little counterintuitive because initially I said it doesn't matter how good of a videographer you are. Initially that is true because when no one knows of you, then it doesn't matter. But as you start to sell people and get them really, really good results because you are good, then all the selling does itself because people see how good you are because there's referrals, there's your name thrown into the bucket, you're actually a talking point in consideration for who these businesses are going to work with. But what initially needs to happen is you need to get good at sales to go ahead and land those clients to get those abilities and those case studies and those results for people to see, right? So we can open up a Q&A. See that you have a question.
I'm not a big reader, but I've recently started getting to reading to benefit myself. Do you have any good sales books that helped you?
Yeah, so I used to read a lot. I used to read a lot, but what I will say is, dude, no book is going to be able to go ahead and convey the kind of knowledge that just going out there.
Yeah,
right. And so
experience of getting out there and failing and learning.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it's like and I'm a big reader, but it's like you just want to find the shortcut.
Yeah.
You want to find the way to go ahead and learn the skill based off of not putting yourself out there. Yeah. If I gave you all of these books, which I'm sure I could, afterwards, if you still want them, great, I can tell you. But if you read all those books and no one else did, and they went into businesses just doing what I said, dude, they're going to be way further ahead than you are. Definitely. Yeah. So, but I can tell you some books afterwards.
What are some things that you're looking for when you're market researching, questions to market research your person?
Depends on the industry, certainly. So let's say for a car dealership versus a restaurant, it's going to be completely different. But there's things that don't change, like the decision makers. I want to know who I need to talk to. If I go into a business, again, I'm talking to a front desk lady, I'm talking to a concierge, I'm talking to, just someone who doesn't have much pull in the business, doesn't really matter. Again, I can do all the other market research that is specific to that industry, but if I'm talking to someone who doesn't have much pull in the business, then it doesn't matter. So I would say what doesn't change is the decision makers, and everything else unfortunately kind of changes. Like the way that you can provide value to a restaurant is going to be a lot different than the way you can provide value for, you know, a car dealership. So. Yeah. I feel like you keep getting skipped over.
Oh, it's okay. So I wanted to ask you more about the piece on the market, like when you try to sell to everybody, you sell to no one.
Exactly.
So like, can you go more into that piece and like choosing what market and like businesses to go into, as opposed to like others? Like, what are some deciding factors that you see in like businesses that are like no-go?
I think I'm also going to expand on that a little bit more in mine. So
For sure, yeah. I think with that, it's a lot of it is personality centric. So like for Cam, you know, Cam likes cars. You know, Cam is infatuated with cars, and so when he goes and he talks to someone about cars, you know, he can go in and talk to a sales rep, and you know, he wants to be able to. What's going to happen is a lot of these businesses will deflect you to someone who doesn't have pull, right? So if they deflect him to a sales rep, and he's able to talk about, oh, this C7 over here has like the 6 cylinders and this and that and all this other shit, they're gonna be like, oh, like this guy's actually a pretty cool guy, you know. So like I'm gonna go and introduce them to this guy who actually does have pull. So a lot of it is dependent on your personality and what you like, because if you like going out and interacting with these businesses, then the likelihood that you are going to provide them with more value than if you don't like that is really high. So I think, I know that that's not like a direct answer, but yeah, I think that's
it's helpful. More to like our own experience and like personal like connections, hobbies, or like anything that we can speak to the lingo.
Exactly. I mean, like, for you personally, what would you say are going to be the best businesses for you to go ahead and approach?
We're just talking about it right now. Probably like med spas and like workout, or gyms, or like personal training, stuff like that. That might be a good route for us.
Okay. Yeah.
Building the fitness.
Yeah. Gotcha. And Cam and then can speak a lot more on that. I'm not a videographer, so I honestly wouldn't know the differences or the nuances between speaking to them versus speaking to someone else.
I think a really easy thing you can do, we're gonna try one more time, for that is simply going in, like really low hanging fruit, just go on your Instagram For You page, just search up med spa or gym, and go look at the top results. And just scroll for hours, and jot down 10 that stick out to you that are outliers that perform really well for that niche. And you didn't even have to make that yourself, but now you look knowledgeable because you've done your homework on what works within their niche. Right? So then simply providing that as a reference point, like, hey, here's the type of content you could be creating, and then pointing to somebody that succeeded with it, has grown a lot of followers, or brought a lot of business from that, that's gonna blow them away because it's gonna create this gap in their mind that they didn't know existed. Because now they're like, hey, my competitor's posting, they're doing all this, they're at 50,000 followers, and they're bringing in leads pretty much every single day. I need to lock in and get my numbers right. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think this goes for Presley as you as well, for like pre-planning, like let's say I'm doing a business, like how do I pre-plan to get ready to approach that business and have, obviously what you just said is a good point, but like to really like go in there and hit them with like, this is why you should hire.
Yeah. So one thing that you can go ahead and do is go to their website. Most businesses do have websites. A lot of the older businesses have websites, but not really much of a social media presence. And there's going to be like an Our Mission page. There's going to be a like About Us page. And so going and reading through that and getting a lot of insights onto what their mission is and what, you know, they have to say about themselves, then you can go ahead and use that. Looks like Michael Vick's like out there fighting dogs. Looks like you can go and use that information to go and speak with their language. Oh, I saw that this is your guys' mission, and you know, I'm curious where you guys at with that. Like, what's your main problems? All of the research doesn't necessarily need to be done beforehand, because the likelihood that you guys are going to go ahead and sell a business your first touch point is really low. Right? So first, do as much research as you can beforehand by going to their websites, all of the information that you can find before, going to their social media pages, their Instagrams, seeing how many views they got in the last month, seeing how many times they posted. All of that data then gives you an anchor to go ahead and like pitch them on, right? And what I mean by an anchor is it's like, hey, going into the business, I saw that you only posted like 3 times in the last month. Like, out of curiosity, what's going on with that? That's an anchor, because that's a weight, like a foothold or a placeholder on a paper that holds your your question and your ask down, right?
Can you give us some insights about negotiation when it comes to sales?
Can you be a little bit more specific? Like, can you give me maybe an example or something that you faced?
Let's say you land a client and you offer your services and you give them a number, like 25 minutes or something. But they were like, it's a little bit too high or something like that. So how would you approach that?
There's a lot of different ways that you can approach that. Depends on whether or not you can. What I do is I have one client who I have a retainer with, but most of what I ask is percentage revenue shares, right? Because I know that I can go ahead and like drastically increase the income of their business. And so for one, a lot of it comes to how skilled you are. Because if you're really skilled, then you can go ahead and say, all right, I know that $2,500 a month might be a lot for you right now, but like, what if we just did like 30% of all the business that I drove for you? Right? So like the more experience, the more skills that you have and your confidence and your ability to provide results, that allows you to go ahead and do something like that.
How would you keep track of that? Like,
it's different for every business. Like I want to give you guys more direct, insightful responses, but like, bro, for a car dealership, he can go ahead and I can go and track all of the revenue very seamlessly for what I do because there's tools like Hyros, there's I can just go into their payment processors and look through everything, and it's very easy to delineate what I provided. But then when it's like a car dealership, like him, spend hours and hours and hours on end, like literally programming something. So sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you just have to get in the dirt and find a solution to it. But
hey, Clay,
yeah.
I think it'd be really like just to raise a hand. Like, how many of you guys like struggle with like discovery, like figuring out where the prospect's trying to go, how much money they're trying to make, like actually figuring out like a clear vision of their goals. Like, raise my eyes wide. All right, so Clay, I want you to explain to them the right questions to ask business owners so that when they go into the pitch, they know exactly how to fucking frame it. Sorry for the language, but
Same.
know exactly how to frame it so that when it is the pitch, they're like, this is amazing. Let's do it. Because you gotta ask the right questions, open them up, and then walking them into the sale. That's what it's all about. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with the market research and that question there, again, going and looking at their website, but then going through their social media pages, I mean, that's mostly what the meat and potatoes of where your guys' content is going to be posted. So, like, just go to their Instagram, find their Instagram, see, okay, in the last month, how many times did they post? How many views did they get? What was the engagement on that? How many likes, how many comments, how many followers are they at right now, right? And then you can go in and you can just use that as an anchor, like, hey, you approach some business, and this tool helps a lot with that. But you go in and you say, hey, I saw your social media page, and it looked like you only posted 3 or 4 times in the last month. Like, I'm just curious, do you have like someone for video right now? And then that just opens it up. It has to be very open-ended. You can't ask like a complete, closed question. It has to be very open-ended for them to drive you in the direction that you need to go. You need to ask open-ended questions for the business owner to tell you what they need. So when you say, hey, like, do you have a videographer right now, or what are you doing with your marketing or your content and everything? Then they're going to tell you, and they'll talk. Let them talk. Like, shut your lips and let them talk, because they'll tell you. It's like, oh, well, this is what we're doing, and right now we just don't have much, awareness as to what goes on with social media. We're 40, 50, 60 years old, and Facebook, I don't know. I mean, that's all they know, right? So ask a lot of open-ended questions. That's really important. Any other questions?
Do you guys ever?
No.
Do you guys ever create pitch decks?
I can speak on that a little bit. So, in bigger deals, so when we put StockX over the summer, we did a project with them in Michigan. Shout out Ben for also coming. My first Ben. We had some travel issues, and fortunately Ben was able to help us out with that as well. So shout out Ben. It was a super cool project to work on. One of the things that we realized with them is that was like a 3 or 4 call sales process. So when you're pitching these bigger deals, a lot of times it'll be multiple rounds of not questioning, but more so like discovery. So the first one was like just kind of talking about our track record, what we do, how we can help them with YouTube, kind of doing a deep dive on what they were going to do with YouTube. And then the second call, what they asked is like, hey, this is great. Can you guys put together some ideas for us for like a presentation of like what video you want to create, what you think would be best with these circumstances? Because they knew for a fact they would have the University of Michigan football players on set, and that was the talent they had available. So how can we make a video that incorporates that? And Spears what they were looking to do was a back to school campaign for StockX as part of their marketing efforts. And what they were looking for was, how can we incorporate players showcasing their favorite shoes or apparel from StockX and engage in a YouTube video that's 10 minutes long. So we went in, we pulled inspiration from videos in similar category that use influencers, that use celebrities to advertise the brand, and we put together basically like a shot list or a preliminary idea of what we wanted to do. And then we used the second call to pitch that. And the third call was a call with the talent agency or the talent manager for the players, and it explained the idea and the itinerary of the day. So to answer your question, in some of these sales processes, even when it's not required, I really recommend it, because what it allows you to do is you take back the expert. So when it's in sales, there's frames. So you want to make sure you're the expert, and then they're almost the person learning, right? So you want to expose problems they didn't know they have, and almost sales is really education is what it is. You're educating them about problems they didn't know they have, or you're twisting the knife, is the expression they use, and exacerbating the problem in their mind. So maybe they know they kind of need help with YouTube. You do like a 10-minute audit of their channel, like, yo, you're actually making all of these mistakes right now. Then they're like, wow, this is a really pressing issue. We need a solution ASAP. And it just furthers their desire or need to work with you and get access to your services. So to answer your question, in some cases, you will go through a multiple discovery call process where the company will actually ask you, or even if they don't, it's something you should definitely do. But you will clients today all come prepared before the sales call or set up something in advance, like a quick 5-minute, even if it's just a 5-minute breakdown or audit of their page, or a Google Doc outlining some video ideas that I think would perform well, that can be really good. Or you can put together a whole deck. I've seen students in our program do that really well. They'll put together like a 10, 20 thing on Canva, which is free, of just a slideshow of like analysis of your page right now, content I like, how we can implement this for your page, and it works wonders because, number one, most of the videographers are not doing this. The reason we were able to gain such an edge early on in Miami is because we were going in and meeting with someone value, not only the free work, but also coming up with like scripts and strategy in advance. This might be signed in Miami, shout out to him for flying out. I wrote 8 scripts for this client. I think 10 actually, 10 scripts for this client before we even signed the client. And just based off that alone, that was enough to say, wow, these guys actually know what they're doing on the strategy side, these guys came up with a plan. And the simple act or gesture of the preparedness speaks so much volumes. It doesn't even matter what the content is. They could be mediocre ideas. Obviously do your homework and try to get good ideas, but it's not so much the content itself, it's the gesture of coming prepared with something that so few people are willing to do. So if you're simply one of the 100 videographers that does that, that's immediately going to set you apart in the sales process. And because now you look like the expert, you're no longer selling videos, you're selling an end result, you're selling your expertise. So that in turn allows you to charge higher prices. Was that a good answer?
And what, last question. So I know you had a question. Anyone else have any questions? I want to hit yours first, and then you had a question. Someone back there. Forgot. Okay, cool. How do you guys feel about what I went through? The main thing that I wanted to get is feedback for myself. Like that's something that you guys should get from prospective clients and clients that you guys have. Looks like you have a question. We can go into it in a second. But how do you guys feel off of what I went through? Like how helpful was that? How insightful was it?
It was great.
Sounds great.
Yeah, this is what I came from.
Awesome. Love to hear that. Cool.
Yeah, I was curious, how do we get access to the sales chat?
So right now, I'm still working on it. It's still like kind of proprietary. It's still something that only our students have, capable of using. I'm talking with them maybe about like releasing it more to the public, but for right now, it's only something that I had a lot of that. Like this thing is not even close to what I think it can get to. Right now, we have roughly 100 students, and I want to get to the point where at least like 30, 50 students are going out and outreaching like 5 businesses, 10 businesses a week. And if 30 to 50 students go and do that, that's 150 to 500 cold approaches every single week that I'm going to be training this on. And the more data that you feed this thing, like I can then get to a point where, let's say, of the 500 cold approaches from the students, there were 327 cold approaches to car dealerships. I can then go into the system and ask it, of all of those 327 cold approaches, what were the main objections that those dealerships gave to the videographers? And then it'll be like, spit out all that list, tell you exactly everything, and we're training the students on how to go ahead and navigate those objections. But yes, it's really exciting. But that is in conversations. I don't know. That's more of a decision on everything I'm training.
I want to make one last point about sales here, just to sorry to you know, to add on something. When we were talking about the market research and the pre-planning ahead of time, if you are good at articulating things to people and communicating, that is going to get you really far in sales. So like I said, my strength and my edge when pitching these big agency deals is simply being able to go into their niche on YouTube, on Instagram, whatever the case may be, and I say, okay, let me find the top three accounts in this niche. We're the top. This is a great process. You can break this down step by step, how to get these clients interested or basically move the sales process along. I go and find the top 3 to 5 people in the space that are selling the same thing as them. So this could be dropshipping, Amazon, this could be real estate, this could be big realtors, right? Whatever the case may be, whatever the niche, this works for anything. Find the top 3 or 5 people in that space that are creating content around the thing, and then from each of them, pull 3 to 5 ideas you like that have performed really well, that have gone viral, that have performed really well relative to the niche. So what you can do is you can even ask ChatGPT to repurpose it into a similar video for that client, or you can just pull those, create a list and say, hey, I created this list of competitors to study, and then break down why those things work and how you can implement it for the client. So maybe you find something you like for the client, maybe it's a realtor, and say, hey, this person did this video on YouTube breaking down this apartment tour in Chicago. Well, you live in Scottsdale or you live in New York City, why don't we do the exact same thing for you and iterate on the same deal? And their minds are going to blown. It sounds so simple to you because a lot of you guys are creative videographers, you watch and consume this content regularly, but this is mind-blowing stuff to a lot of these businesses. And if you're able to show them that and give them concrete examples of the kind of work you're capable of, they're like, sign me up. No one's ever come to me with a good idea. A lot of people offer shoot videos, but no one's actually explained it like this before and how to plan. Simply having a plan puts you so far ahead of everyone else that it's not even a competition with the other videographers that might be vying for that role.
So real quick, do you guys have any more questions? If you do, you can ask them right now in front of everyone. You can ask them to me outside this. But if you don't have any questions, I mean, you guys can just... Yep.
As far as number of outbound, like cold outreaches, what would you say is like the right amount per day, per week, per month, or something?
As much as you can. It's not that's not the answer that you're looking for, but all of you guys have separate schedules. All of you guys have different commitments that you have to make, but like as much as you possibly can. And I want to one thing I want to hone in on is like we are not more skilled than you guys are. I can assure you that, but we work so fucking hard. Like we planned this 6 days ago. Consider how much work goes into executing on a thought that materialized 6 days ago, right? So with that, the main point that I'm making is work as hard as you possibly can, because if you really want it, your actions will showcase that. So if you have free time, you know when you can go and outreach. But I want to go do this right now. Well, then you don't want it. You say that you want it, but you don't. So however much time you guys have free on your hands right now, you guys should be cold approaching. You guys should go ahead and outreach businesses and do so with sophistication backing your actions, right? So I know. Again, it's not like do 3 cold outreaches a day, but it's a little bit different for every person.
If you pull out for someone and you kind of talk and change it a little bit, and you don't really respond, how much would you hit them back? Like how often would you do it until you just kind of give up? But to have something like this, you don't want to be too pushy. You don't want to be running out.
How many times would you follow up? I mean, dude, some people have the belief of dude, I'll do it until I'm blocked. Like if I know I can help someone a lot and I know that it would be a big deal or a good deal for me, I will go to the point where it's they're pretty much filing a restraining order, So like that's how convicted you have to be in what you guys do for these businesses, right?
Let me elaborate on that real quick. One of my favorite sayings that I love to tell students is you can afford to be obnoxious on the back end if you're valuable on the front end. So
Yeah,
what I mean
exactly.
by that is if you went ahead and created a strategy deck for them, you created this list of competitors and everything like that, and you provided a ton of free value and strategy up front to the client, you can afford to be as obnoxious as you want. Because it's not really so much about is following up annoying or not.
Mhm.
It's like how much, it's the context behind the follow-up and how much value provided up front. So if you went and created a ton of free stuff for them, they liked it, and maybe they're just on this fence about working with you, go follow up with them until the day they die.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they liked the strategy deck and they found it helpful, you are obligated to get a yes or no from that person. You know what I mean? Just following up with random BS messages like, hey, you get lost on Mars? I've gotten that one before.
Yeah, just
or,
dumb
I
stuff.
found you in my toilet this morning. Somebody cold emailed me like, Presley, like, I had a dream about you.
Yep, I saw that.
It was like somebody like Photoshop a picture of Cam like on this like, it was crazy, but bizarre. But the problem with this is that in a context where they provide like a 10, 20-minute strategy breakdown or pitch deck with that, it's endearing. But when there's no strategy and there's no value, it's obnoxious. You see what I'm saying? It's the same exact email, but because one provided value, it's viewed as endearing, or this guy's persistent or creative, and another guy does it and it's obnoxious, right? So the context behind it matters a lot more than the message itself.
Yeah, and one is leading with value and the other is just being super needy, right? You will know when you are being needy versus when you are providing value, right? So always provide value when you do outreach and feedback, like the follow-up. You had a question.
Yeah. So this might have been answered through like the market research, but how do you differentiate whenever it's a smoke screen or like an objection versus client's just not the right fit?
Yeah. Context, dude. I mean, again, like it's the context of the discovery. It's the context of their tonality. Like one of the most important things is tonality when you go and you reach out to these people. Because you can say the perfect thing to these businesses, but if you're like trembling and you're like, they're going to be like, what the hell is this guy on about? Does he have Tourette's or, not trying to be offensive. But whole point being is what it really boils down to is you have to convey conviction. I know I can help businesses. I know that certainly, right? And so when you go in and you convey it, you could be terrible at your discovery. You could be terrible at what you say to these people. But if you say so confidently, it's like how many times have you guys heard a politician speak and it's like, dude, this guy is saying nothing but bullshit, but he's just saying it so good it kind of sounds true. Like, wait a second. So that's the importance of that. But when it comes down to knowing whether it's a smoke screen or not, when you go through enough outreach and you go through enough conversations with businesses, you will know, right? So it's just putting yourself out there to get the ability to discern, and it's intuitive. It's like that gut feeling.
Yeah, I'll give you a great analogy. It's kind of when a girl or a guy says, oh, I'll let you know, like maybe in response to plans. When you know if that person was like really interested, it would be a different response. It wouldn't be like an I'll let you know or maybe or static flat response. It would be something more like, I can't do today, but I can do XYZ dates or something like that. You know what I mean? And so like the naive freshman in high school doesn't realize that, so he follows up with a girl every week and then until he eventually gets a no and she has the courage to actually reject him. But somebody that's done that a lot of times is going to be able to tell the difference between somebody that's genuinely interested in and is genuinely busy versus the girl that's just throwing up smoke screens or the guy that's just throwing up smoke screens but they're not really interested in hanging out with them. So that's the best analogy I can give. And you might feel a little bit like confused at the start, but as you get enough sample size and as you get enough experience, you're going to be able to discern the two.
I feel like the sun's in your faces.
Okay, our sponsors were really just getting upset the fact that we weren't throwing in enough pieces of sponsored material into our videos. So I just want to again thank our sponsors, myself and Presley, for the event. So if you want to learn how to sell your clients money, then make sure that you go click the free training video below and learn how to do that right now.
All right, everybody. What's up? You guys might know me, might not. If you haven't, that's your problem, not mine. My name is Kyle King Williams. I recently joined the mentorship program, became a student about, 2.5 months ago? So I'll give you a background story. I started in the oil and gas industry. From 17 years old, I started painting pieces of equipment, got into the field, swinging hammers, the fun shit. I did that for 13 years. And I got to the point where I was a pretty big wig up in upper management, working for one of these oil companies, making well over 6 figures, the dream corporate 9 to 5. I turned 30 this year and had a massive realization that I hate my life. Mind you, I spent the past 13 years working my ass off to get to this point, right? The average American dream. I'll go and throw in, I'm not even from here. I was born in Africa. So we came over here as immigrants, and I strived hard for the American dream. What was it? August? Camp Series comes out. I'm literally on a rig up, and that is a term used for putting equipment together. As a manager, because we don't have enough people in the field, I am swinging hammers, lifting iron, bloody knuckles, miserable. Been up for 36 hours. I've had so many of those nights that it just got to the point where I was done. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that, but it's a very scary place to be when you've worked your entire life to be somewhere and you get there and you realize it is the worst thing that you've ever could have experienced. So, Camp Series comes along. I'm driving back from location. I got a 4-hour drive back to my house. I burned through the first video, second video, third video. Before you know it, I didn't go to sleep. For 2 days straight, I binge watched this dude's videos. And it had nothing to do with the videography. It had nothing to do with him being able to close clients. It was the fact that I had the same dream when I was his age. When I was 21, 22, y'all's age, just, you have this fire, right? I had it. I can taste it still to this day. And I decided to push that into what everybody told me to do, which is the 9 to 5. I finished the series. I went home and I talked to my fiance. And I was like, this is going to sound crazy, but I think I want to start recording videos. Mind you, my extent in recording videos, guys, has literally been an iPhone. Never owned a camera, nothing. So what do? I wake up the next morning, I contemplate it, I go and have a good day at work. I had a damn good day at work. On the way back from work, I could not fight the feeling that this was my last shot to go out and do something for myself. So, I went under this dude's description, couldn't find shit. When I was YouTube, when I was Instagram, I wanted it so bad that I found a way to get to camp. I called the number. I don't even remember who I talked to. I was driving in the middle of traffic, right? So immediately after, somebody calls me, and it doesn't try sell me, it doesn't try pitch me. They start asking questions. They're like, hey man, so what's the deal? Like, what's your experience? Not a fucking thing. Excuse my language. What makes you want to become a videographer? What do you think you'd be a good fit for these guys? Like, I don't want to waste your time, but I also don't want to like sell you a pipe dream. And I basically told them exactly what I just told you. I was like, I related to something in that video that I've never been able to relate to that well in my life. And mind you, this is a 30-year-old guy, man, who has the life. I mean, it just didn't make sense. Long story short, we hang up the phone. I get a call back the next day. And I talked to Joe. Where's he at? He's right there. And Joe, he listened to me, he heard me, and he suggested that I think about it and make sure that I want to do this. Because it's not going to be easy. It's going to be really hard. And he had the utmost confidence that what these guys provided it would help. But he needed to make sure that I wanted it, right? So I thought about it, and I joined their group, right? Terrified, absolutely terrified. Now I've got a full-time job that I can't sleep with, and I just decided to join a group of guys on the internet selling cameras or videos. I didn't even know. I just knew something I wanted to do, right? A week after that call, I put my 2 weeks in my 13-year-old career, right? A week and a half after that, I signed my first client. Made $2,500 that week. It's been 2.5 months since I've been in. I have not looked back. My family relationship is the best it's ever been. My health, my happiness. Guys, I can't even express to you how my life is just 10x. I mean, I'm in Scottsdale. This might not mean much to you, but to me, it was just game changer, right? I've got bids out for $24,000. I've got bids out for 10 grand. I have made so much connections, learned so much shit that is just, it blows my mind. Not to mention, I get to work with these people every single day. There's a phone call. Every single day there's a Teams call. We get on calls. We meet. I've networked with everybody in the group. 2.5 months. Right now, on the books for the end of the year, I'm looking at maybe $37,000 to close. With 0 video experience. Like, I mean, I say all that to say this. This mastermind was not some sort of come in here, let me give you a taste of something, and then let's just make you guys pay a bunch of money and join, right? No. This is a genuine opportunity for you guys to really grow the shit out of yourselves. Whether that be a business, your relationships, your personal brand, it doesn't matter. This is the real deal. I don't know how many of you guys have signed up for stuff, masterminds, joined courses, learned something, talked to guys, like, and you get buyer's remorse when you walk away from it, right? You're like, I got screwed. I feel like I didn't get the value. This is the first time in my life I've ever experienced something which is the complete polar opposite. These guys are the real deal. And I'm up here telling you that because I'm not a videographer. I am not a salesman. I have experience in business, but I am not a 10th, a 100th of what you guys can do. I literally downloaded Premiere Pro for the first time a month ago. Like, that's hilarious for you guys. So with all that being said, I want you guys to genuinely understand what you guys got here today. And I want to thank you for coming out and just giving these guys the opportunity to teach and tell you who they are. It's not really often you get a group of people like this that genuinely care about other people. I mean, you've heard Presley talk, you've heard Cam, you've heard Ben, you've heard everybody here talk. Did any of you guys get the sense that they were giving you anything in an expectation of something else? I didn't think so. And I want you guys to genuinely reflect on that, because that is really rare these days. That's all for me. Cam's going to come in and talk to you guys. And I just thank you guys for all coming. Are you talking?
That's Kyle. And I asked him to come up and share 5 minutes ago. He had no script. He had no idea that he was doing that. So, well, not 5 minutes ago, but 5 minutes before he went. So, shout out Kyle. Just the growth that I've seen.
Shout out y'all
just
guys.
the
You don't
genuine
understand.
happiness that he has for life has just changed dramatically. So, I want to tell a little bit of a story, a little bit of my story for those of you that maybe don't know me, or maybe you've watched the YouTube series, but you don't know some of the beginning. My plan is to share a little bit of my story, and then I have some really fun stuff that's going to be really valuable to go through with you guys. So we're going to do that, and then we'll go from there. So I got started in, I believe it was 2018. And in 2018, I got started with an iPhone SE, the original iPhone SE, and I started working with a dealership in my local area. Town of 6,000 people is the biggest town around. There are 3 dealerships in that town, and I had no idea what I was doing, but the point that the dealership was in, anything that I created for them was better than what they had, because they had nothing. Not to pump my own ego, because I didn't know anything. I just knew that I could take some pictures, take some videos, and have some fun with it, and that's exactly what I did. And I saw an opportunity within that. And as you guys have probably seen within my series, my YouTube videos, if you've watched them, I've taken the path of dealerships because I like cars. I like the interactions. That sales environment changed my life. I was homeschooled when I was 2nd grade all the way through high school when I dropped out. And I did not have a social life. I was not good at socially interacting with people at all. The fact that I'm standing here right now, like, 17-year-old Cam would be like, you're insane. Because I could not talk to people. I was so introverted.
and I just did not have like the social life at all because I was homeschooled. So being in that sales environment at a dealership was a large piece of what changed my life and showed me that like I can go talk to people, like I can go make asks. I saw what it was like to be in a performance environment, especially when I was in a town that was like dead, basically. 6,000 people, biggest town around. No one there had dreams and aspirations, but I found a performance environment within that dealership, and that's where I planted myself as far as like, I just need to be around these people because these people have something, they have a fire within them that I have not seen anywhere else. And that fire is extremely important. I know that's what I needed myself. So I would go to the dealership and I would just work. I didn't have to go to the dealership. I would just post up at a desk just so I could be in the environment because I knew that was the environment that I needed. And from there, I realized that that was a vehicle to the next thing. From there, I made friends with one of the top salesmen at the entire group of 14 dealerships, top 3 out of all the groups. And with him, I was like, hey, we should work together. You can teach other people how to sell because you're really good at it. You can teach other salesmen how to do well, and I'll make all of your content for you. And he was like, that sounds good to me. So that's what started my journey. How I knew to do that, I think I probably just saw someone on Instagram also doing it, and I saw something that worked. I was like, if it worked for them, why wouldn't it work for us? So I started growing an Instagram page. And in the time that I was growing an Instagram page, I started posting from zero to 5,000 followers in 5 months. Paid for shout outs and promotions to help with that too. I was literally just about to quit on Instagram doing that. And I got basically so mad one day that I took that anger out on creating a title for one of the videos. And I went extreme with the title. I was like, dude, I just don't care about this anymore. Like, I'm going to take all my emotion out on creating this title. I posted that video because I was on my last leg. I was like, if this doesn't work, I didn't think it was going to work, but I was just like, I'm so upset at this point. I spent 5 months and I haven't found any breakthroughs at all. I posted that video. I checked the next day, my account's like double the following. I was like, what just happened? And I look at the video's going viral. And every time I refresh, people are liking the video. I'm like, this is back when IGTV was a thing. I was like, this is insane, right? So I was like, okay, well, I found something that works. Let me do it again. And that's exactly what I did. I posted another video, more aggressive title. And that time, that video went even more viral. So I had a breakthrough right there, and that breakthrough changed my mindset. From there, I ended up joining someone else's mentorship. I got thrown in an engagement group. If anyone was on Instagram back in 2018, 2019, and you know that those were a thing, I was in an engagement group, and I met another business owner in that engagement group. That business owner lived 2.5 hours south of me in Boston, Massachusetts, I found out. And I just was in the group. He said he loved my content because I spent a lot of time on my content. And I looked at his content. It was day trading. I was like, well, I appreciate that you like my content. I have no idea what's going on with your content. And he like kind of signaled to me. He's like, yeah, like I wish I, had someone to help me with my content. I was like, well, where do you live? He's like, I'm in Boston. I was like, oh, just drive down 2.5 hours. And I just risked it. And I drove down and I shot with him. One thing led to another. He became the first client. And that's when I was working at the dealership. I was doing some side jobs. I was hitting 2, 3, 4K a month. And then I started working with this dealership. And the package that I pitched him was a $2,000 per month retainer. And then it was 25% of sales past his biggest month. So in his mind, he's like, okay, so like if he doesn't make me any money, he's only making 2K. That works for me. His biggest month was 40 grand. The next month we went and turned over 75 grand. That was my first 10K month. I made 14K that month. I went from 4K to making 14K. The next month I also cleared 14K. And at this point I'm like, this is insane. Like I just had basically $20,000 over the past 2 months deposited into my bank account. And so the first thing I did was like, I'm just going to go buy a bunch of camera gear so I can continue making even better videos. And what I realized very quickly is I negotiated a good contract for myself, but the value that I was providing didn't quite match up. So I decided to try and take on as much as I could at this business. And I became the COO of that business like 6 months later because I just took on so much and it was in the startup phases. And I was so passionate about just doing whatever I could because I saw this as an opportunity, as a vehicle to the next thing. And I stuck with this business for 2 years. And then I left this business to go start my own. And that business was exited and sold for $2 million. And then from there,
I went and I started a software company on credit cards. And that software company failed. And then I went $45,000 in debt because I thought it'd be a good idea to start a software company on credit cards. And I was like, well, now I'm in this position. I'm $45,000 in debt. When I was at that business, I made it a point to spend a lot of the money on business expenses, camera gear, and whatever I could to bring my tax bill as low as possible, which worked because at 18 years old, I made $130,000 and paid $6,000 in taxes in a liberal state, which is kind of crazy. And then from there, because I didn't have much liquidity, that's why I went all in on starting a software company. That ended up failing. I was in debt, and I was like, well, I'm in this position that I kind of have to get myself out of. I don't have anyone to bail me out. And the only thing that can go back to is videography and content. And that's when I started picking up the camera, shooting videos. I met Presley. We scaled up our agency, and I haven't looked back to this day. So that's my little story for you guys. What I want to jump into now is I have this little system that I want to break down. So a lot of you guys, who here is a videographer? Raise your hand. All right. Mostly half of us. What does the other half of us do? Go around.
Video strategy.
Video strategy. Door-to-door sales. Photography. Choreography. Okay. Physical therapist. Automotive mechanic.
I do video marketing, but my friend is the
Videographer. Sweet. All right. I think we covered everyone. So what I'm going to break down for you guys is we have two boxes right here. Who knows? Who's heard the term in 2024 that attention equals currency? Heard that?
No.
Attention equals currency? Okay, so for those of you that are unaware of attention equals currency, in 2024, most business has moved online. We can all agree with this. And the businesses that get the most attention, the right attention, end up making the most money if they have the systems in place, right? So what we're going to talk about is that system, because most of you are videographers or can create content to some capacity, especially much better than Arizona Rug over there. I guarantee it, right? They are not content creators. They sell rugs. But if they had more people to buy rugs, they would make more money. Can we agree? Right? So the attention equals currency only applies if the system is in place. So I'm going to do attention equals currency right here, right? So we have two boxes. We have marketing and we have sales. And I'm going to draw a little bit of a graph on the bottom to help represent this right now. So we have far from the money right here, and then we have close to the money, right? And what I mean by this is if we think about the natural progression, let's take going and buying coffee, for example, right? The sale happens when you go and put your credit card on the reader and you exchange your credit for the coffee. That is the transaction. That is the sale, right? That's when the business makes money. But in order for that to happen, the customer has to first discover that the business exists and build up enough intent that they finally go in and walk in and have a purchase, right? The problem with attention equaling currency is that there's a massive gap here between attention and currency. And there's a system that has to be implemented here. And the issue is the majority of businesses, there's 30 million small businesses in America, about 97% of these businesses are missing this gap or very inefficient within this gap right now. So as content creators, what we're really good at is we're really good at going and getting attention. And businesses know that they need attention because they realize that we're in an attention economy. Now, the issue is if you go and try to sell the attention to the business, you're going to get waxed, because what the business actually cares about is the money. They want customers. They want leads. They want people paying them. People don't care if 500 people show up to the coffee shop if none of them buy coffee. There's no point, right? So if you don't have that transaction happen at the sale, your services are rendered useless. So if you go in and you only sell attention, this is what you're selling. Content casino. You're basically selling gambling to this business because they don't know if the service that you're providing is actually going to make them money. And that's what's going to limit you to a $500, $1,000, $1,500 or equivalent retainer, because the business has no idea if this is going to work. we're within an opportunity right now where we are in an attention economy. So they're willing to gamble a little bit. Just like you guys have probably seen the meme coin craze, right? We have people that are normally not into trading and investing willing to try out meme coins because they realize that that's the economy that we're in, right? We're in an economy right now that is an attention economy. So businesses are willing to gamble a little bit, right? They're like, oh, I'll spend some money on content and see what happens. The issue is they're going to be like, I don't want to spend a lot of money because I don't know what it's going to do for me. And rightfully so, because if they go in and let's say, I'm going to pick out one of my fellows here. Let's say they go in, they spend $1,000 retainer with Presley, right? And Presley's like, I'm going to make you 30 pieces of short form content this month and post them to your Instagram. What are they paying for? Any idea? They're paying for labor. They're paying you to work a job. There's no leverage in this other than the fact that we are in an attention economy. So they're willing to spend a little bit more than the average to go and hire you, right? You might be able to work them up a little bit. And this is essentially just a job. You're going, you're shooting the videos, maybe you're scripting the videos. You probably only pitched them on the fact that you're going to shoot the videos. You probably didn't pitch editing into your time. You probably didn't pitch posting into your time. So now you're donating half your time and getting paid for the other half of your time. And the way that you're going to try and go and scale is through your own labor, which at that point, you might as well just work a 9-to-5 job, because in a 9-to-5 job, at least you're only working 9 to 5 and getting paid for that. With this is what we did in the beginning. We were working from 9 a.m. in the morning until 4 a.m. in the morning every single day, servicing 18 different clients, posting on average 3 times a day, 2 times a day per client on 3 different platforms. If you do the math, that's over 120 posts that we were doing for all of our clients every single day, right? That leverage was labor, which was not labor because it was our time that we were selling, right? There's not leverage in selling the content casino. So what you instead need to sell is the money printer. Sounds good enough, right? What's the difference between the content casino and the money printer? The content casino is hard to sell because you're selling gambling to your potential clients. When you're selling the money printer, what you're selling to your potential clients is money. If I go to Benjamin and I say, hey, Benjamin, if you pay me $5K and I make you $25K, is that cool?
Deal.
See? Now, if I say, Benjamin, pay me $5K, I'm going to make you some content.
Doesn't make sense.
Because that's the content casino, not the money printer, right? Now, in order to go from content casino to money printer, there's a couple things that have to happen between here and here. Anyone want to take a guess at what this might be?
It's us.
Yes.
Bridge.
System. So research, yeah. Right? So there's a couple things that have to happen. Split this down the middle. So there's kind of a 4-stage process that goes on here. There's content, a couple other stages, transaction. We'll call this just sale. So in order for you to go and implement this system for someone, you have to start here. The business still needs the content. You just can't sell them the content casino. You still have to do the content, but the content's not the leverage. The leverage is the system that produces the sale. So in order to get here, you first have to turn content, views, eyeballs into leads. Does anyone know what a lead is? Potential customer.
Potential sale.
Potential sale. A lead is where you start to have a conversation. You have some sort of data point in which you can reference for a conversation. An email address. You can start emailing this person. A phone number. You can start texting or calling this person. Instagram. You can start DMing this person. These are all ways of someone becoming a lead. Because if someone watches your reel that you made for a business on Instagram, they're not a lead. They're just a viewer. The only time that they even become a lead is if they enter into your inbox in some sort of way, right? So step 1 is to get from content to lead. Now, there's a couple ways that you can go and do this. And I want to do a live demonstration on what this would look like. So right now, one of my good friends, he's not here right now, he is working with me on
a large piece of this system, right? Because what has to happen from content to lead and then to sale is there has to be conversation. So what I want you guys to all do, we're going to take 2 minutes. I want you to pull out your phone and go to It's Camera Cam Instagram, and I want you to message me event. Not reply to story, just message me event. Getting a lot of notifications right now.
ManyChat about to pop up.
Not ManyChat.
No?
Not using ManyChat.
Invite sent.
Anyone getting any responses? Yeah. Y'all are talking to AI right now. Keep the conversation going. Give it the info you need. I got a gift for you guys, just for all coming. The AI is going to give it to you guys. And you'll notice, if you go and have the conversation with the AI, if you venture off the script, it's going to reel you back in. But I programmed it to have a specific intent of sharing this gift with you guys. Man, I am getting spammed right now. A lot of phone numbers coming in. A lot of leads coming in, if you think about it. 74 notifications. That's crazy. Anyone get any links back yet? All right. What I just gave you guys is, I call it Cam's brain, not from an ego point, but because I just fed this ChatGPT I fed it my entire YouTube series. I fed it a couple other videos as well, and it has a specific prompt around referencing these videos. So if any of you watch the series, you can go have a conversation with this AI, ask it about the YouTube series, and it's going to be able to reference that pretty well. So that's all y'all's gift for coming. Appreciate you guys coming. So what just happened there, right? Think about this in the context of another business. There's multiple forms of leverage going on here. One is content. But now what we're able to leverage is AI having the conversation to turn someone into a lead, right? So what changes when you start to put intent behind content? You start to try to get people to take an action. You start to incentivize people to take an action. Well, when you incentivize people to take actions, a percentage of those people will take the action, right? So this is step one in providing results for a business, right? You just did the business a huge favor by implementing content plus lead capture through AI, right? So, like I said, that was not ManyChat. That's just an actual bot that's having a conversation with you that I pre-programmed to say, hey, anyone that comments the word event, I want you to bring them through a flow where you ask them for their name, and then you ask them for their phone number, and then only once they've given you your phone number, you'll notice if you don't give them your phone number, you're not getting the bot. And you can go back and have that conversation again. You can push it. It's pretty good. It'll go off track and then it'll reel itself back in or reel you back in, right? So that AI is automatically helping turn people into leads. Not only is the Instagram channel there, but now I have all the phone numbers of everyone. What does this do for a business, right? Think about this on a massive scale. What if 1 million people saw the video and 10% or even 1% took the action? That's 1,000 people that are now leads, right? So when you go and sell content that can generate leads, now you just became much more valuable to a business. And the reason that I love car dealerships so much is because they already have a proven sales system. They literally just need more leads and they will make more money. With Brian, for example, he closes 19% of the leads on average that come through his sales system. So what does that mean for you? If you go and feed someone like Brian 100 leads through doing something like this, then that's 19 more sales for Brian. How do you think his relationship with you changes when you become the lead guy instead of the content guy?
He likes you a lot.
Way more. Way more, right? Because now he can see the data, right? Clayton made a lot of references to data. You guys are starting to see how important data is. Now you can see that when we start to push Brian leads, now Brian starts to make more money from those leads. And this is the beginning of the system that will allow you to charge for your performance. And that's what you want to be charging for. Because clients don't really like you when you just sell them a casino. Because, I mean, think about it. If you invest in a meme coin and it doesn't work, do you really like the meme coin? No. But if you invest into something and it returns you, you like it a lot, don't you? right? Businesses are the same way. This is how you go in and you start to speak the business lingo. This is how you build a conviction in what you're selling, because if you're convicted that you can make the business money, it's really easy to sell. But the problem is a lot of you are still selling the content casino, which is really hard to sell. I wouldn't want to sell that. Like, selling a content casino is really hard to sell. I don't like selling gambling. I like selling results, right? Because results are way easier to sell. You guys could all go pitch 10 people. Maybe one of them is interested, not even closed. I know for a fact if I went and pitched 5 people right now and I pitched them this entire model right here, I could probably go and get 60 to 80% of them, which is 3 or 4 out of those people, right? And it's because I'm selling them money. This is a great offer, a fantastic offer. This is a bad offer. This is a fantastic offer, right? So now we have this gap right here, right? We have a lead. A lead is not a sale. There's a lot of businesses that are not dealerships that do not have the sales system in place. So let's talk a little bit about that sales system and what it looks like. And for this example, does everyone know what Nobu is, the restaurant? All right, cool. So this is Nobu. Beautiful establishment. So this is Nobu right here. And we have 2 different sets of people. I want to use I need 2 volunteers. Forgot your name. Tell me your name. Sorry, I'm awful with names. Brody? Brogan? Okay. I'm going to put you as Bro. Chris. With an H or no?
No H.
Okay. Okay. So we have Bro and Chris. So Bro could go and pitch the content casino, which Nobu could find some value in. They realize that they have really pretty food, and that if they capture the food, there's going to be some interest, right? It doesn't take a genius to figure out that, if they have a couple videos that pop, or they have some cool looking videos of their food displaying it well, people are going to be like, that looks pretty yummy. I'm going to go have some food there, right? But what he's going to have a much better shot at selling is money, right? So how does he go and actually sell money, right? Lots of ideas. There's a lot of different ways we could go here, but I'm going to use this example right here, right? Let's say he goes and has a good conversation with management because he's pitching them the money system. So it's easier to have a good conversation because they're already way more interested because it benefits them way more, right? So the system that he goes and pitches is he says, hey, look, I have an idea. Let's have an event, free event. Not sure exactly what that event looks like. Maybe it's an EDM event, right? Some sort of special event. And what we're going to do with this event is we're going to push a video that says, hey, we're hosting a free event. Go RSVP to this event, right? Now, what happens is if, let's say Chris is like, well, I like EDM. He's like, that's kind of interesting, and it's free, right? He goes and RSVPs. Chris now turns from a viewer into a lead because he has now submitted contact information. He goes to this event. He has a good experience, and he goes home. He says, wow, I had a lot of fun at Nobu, right? I had a good time. Now that we have a lead, we can do a lot more with it, right? Now we can go and turn this lead into a continuous sale, right? So maybe what we do in this scenario is the next week rolls around. Nobu blasts out a text to everyone on the RSVP list from the previous week and says, hey, we're doing another event, and we have 3 tables left. Do you want to come? Right? And then what happens is they send the booking link. This is important here, right? They send out or as I like to call it, the rezo link. Book your table here, but act fast because we only have 3 tables available and we blasted this to 300 people, right? What do you think Chris does? Maybe he thinks about it for a second. I've got some friends that would like to go to Nobu. I had a great time last time, right? Chris says, you know what? I'm going to book a table. He books a table for 6 people, right? And then now Chris is excited. He's like, dude, I got some plans tonight. It's Friday night. We're going to pull up to Nobu. It's going to be a blast. And now what he does is he goes and texts all of his friends, 5 friends. Hey, let's go to Nobu. I got a table. And they're like, Pet, I'm down, right? Now Chris brings 5 other people to Nobu, and they all book a table, right? At this table, maybe they're spending $150 per person. This puts us at $900 in spend, tax tip, probably a little over $1,000 that's spent. Even if they all split the bill. Now, Nobu just went from Bro making content to Bro being able to attribute the fact that
Chris just spent $1,000, and that's one person, right? How does that look at scale? Because if 300 people opted in and they have 3 tables available, well, there's $3,000 for 1 week. What if they do the exact same thing the next day? It's Friday, now they do it Saturday night, and then they do it the next week, right? But they have 5 tables this time. Next thing you know, they're pulling in an extra $20,000, $30,000 per month, and they're able to directly attribute that all the way back to content, right? Because what happens is when he posts the content, when Bro posts the content, and they go and opt in at the RSVP, this is nobu.com/bro. So Nobu knows that every single person that comes and RSVPs through this link is because of Bro, right? So they know that of that list of all the leads that just came in, every single lead on this list that came through nobu.com/bro is now tied to Bro. So every single sale that comes through via reservations is now tied to Bro. And now he just went from selling a content casino to a money printer. Because now at the end of each month, Nobu can see, wow, I'm so glad that we worked with Bro because Bro brought us in an extra $40,000 in revenue. Are we seeing how this went from a content casino to a money printer? Making sense?
My question is, but you put the word reso, but that's just the system.
Reservation, yeah. So they have a system for that. It's like 7 tables or whatever.
But I'm saying, like, okay, say it's not no people, like, we're coming in and we're saying, like, esthetician. What's the reso for, like, the esthetician? It's
Be booking an appointment. So let's use that for an example, right? What does that look like? You said choreography?
Yeah.
So what does the sales process look like for you?
Honestly, that's not going to be, like, my...
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not my, like, person. That's, like, my low ticket item. So,
Okay.
Let's maybe, like, Disney.
Okay. I'm going to use Perry because Perry's the auto shop right down the road, European auto detail, that I'm currently going to go and implement this system for. And I'm going to explain to you guys exactly what that looks like. So if you've seen any of my videos, I went in and I pitched Perry on the money printer. And he was like, you know what? That actually sounds like a good idea. I don't pay any money until I make money. He's like, I'm on board for this. 10%? Yeah, sounds good to me, right? He's selling $3,000 to $5,000 ticket packages for PPF, maybe not PPF. Yeah, I think it's PPF, and ceramic coating for cars. People that are buying luxury sports cars or brand new cars are taking it to Perry, and he's protecting their cars, selling a $5,000 package, right? What does it look like to implement this content casino for him, right? So you guys just saw when you interacted with my bot that what will happen now is that information will be sent over to our CRM, Customer Relationship Manager. And that's where we're able to tell where the lead came from, what the lead's interested in. They're all interested in the AI bot, right? I mean, you guys didn't know that, but if you were watching a video that had you do that, you would know that, okay, it's for an AI bot, right? Now, for Perry, I sat down with Perry and I was going to print him the money printer model. And I was like, so Perry, what does your CRM look like right now? And he goes, and he points at his whiteboard. I was like, you're tracking all of your customers' relationships on your whiteboard? It's like, yeah. I was like, there's nothing else. It's like, no, I have it all on my whiteboard. I was like, that's insane. That's literally the equivalent of me going and making friends with you guys and starting to write your name and numbers down instead of making contacts in my phone, writing your names and numbers down on the whiteboard, and whenever I want to talk to you, I just call you off the whiteboard. Can we all agree that's not really efficient in 2024? Yeah, not efficient at all, right? So now what I'm implementing for him is not only am I doing the content for him, which, as you guys have probably seen at this point, is not the largest piece. It's an important piece, but if you're just selling content, you're only selling gambling, right? So when I go and pitch the content to Perry, which I've already done, and he's already agreed to all of this, and I go and pitch the CRM with the AI, now we have a lot of different things going on right now. So instead of a reso now, this is an appointment, right? Because for someone to come in and bring their car to Perry, they need an appointment, right? So a lead, there's not much interest necessarily in a lead because a lead is just information. There's intention in an appointment because now a person has the intention of going and spending money. I want to go have my car serviced. They want to swap value in some sort of way, right? So Now it goes from content to lead to appointment to sale. Now let's review this process a little bit and see how this flow works, right? I go and make content for Perry. I go and implement this AI CRM. That's the important part, right? Because when you implement the AI CRM, the only way for a lead to become an appointment is through communication, right? But if I have to go do that myself, I'm not going to be able to respond on time. I don't like personally responding to messages. Like, you guys just sent me 80 messages and I'm going to be like, like there's a lot there, right? I'm not the best at responding to messages. Now, if you go and do this for 10 businesses, how are you going to respond to all 10 businesses' messages? You're not, right? You have to go and implement a system in place. So what you do is instead, you take all the existing information of that business, you go train that AI, just like I trained my AI to go give you guys the bots. But instead of giving you guys a bot, it's booking an appointment. And you can do that very easily with AI, right? And especially with the CRM. It's a Go High Level white label, if any of you heard of it. And then it's using an AI bot within it to go. I use content, I get someone in the CRM, I say, hey, just saw that you maybe opted in through this form, or you instead of the RSVP for the event scenario, you were interested. Is there something that I can help you with? And you can have the AI do all this. Well, I just bought a new car and I'm looking to get it ceramic coated. Gotcha. Do you want to set up an appointment to make that happen? They're like, yeah. What do you have available? Well, we have this time, this time, this time. Because the AI can go and read the calendar and make a decision based on the calendar if it's something that is open, right? And they're like, yeah, Monday at 8 a.m. would actually work. Perfect. I just booked you in for Monday at 8 a.m. Now, that AI literally just turned your lead into an appointment. And the value of a lead versus the value of an appointment is dramatically different. Let's say 75% of Perry's appointments show up. How many percentage more is that than leads?
19%.
That's 75% more. Because no leads are showing up because there's no appointments made, right? Unless they're literally like coming in like, I couldn't find it anywhere. Like, can I please book an appointment? Which is actually what they're doing now, because he doesn't have social media pretty much at all. And the only way that people are finding Perry, right? This is a perfect example. We're in a pretty well-developed area. Pretty sure you guys can all agree. And he barely even has social media. He's not pushing any lead flow through social media at all, really, at all. I said, how much are you making from Instagram? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, what do you mean, what do I mean? How much money are you making from Instagram? 0. Okay, where do you make your money? Well, when people are interested, they either go on Yelp or Apple Maps, or they search up auto detailing, and hopefully my site ranks, and then they find me, and then they call me, and then they book an appointment.
That's insanity.
Yeah. And how many other businesses do you guys think that exist that are like this? Most of them. Like I said, I like dealerships because they're pretty much the only one with a sales system that I can just feed leads, and I can get paid for the leads because they're optimized. Insurance providers, another one. Outside of those two businesses, most businesses need that system, and they will pay you a lot, right? Why will they pay you a lot? Well, let's say Perry's doing $20,000 a month, and he's making no money from social media right now, and I go in and I start making content for him. That brings in leads. The AI is turning those leads into appointments, and then those appointments are coming in and they're buying. I book out his calendar now because of the fact that I just brought him eyeballs, right? And now, instead of him making $20,000 a month, now he's making $40,000 a month. Now, if I say, Perry, my services are going to cost you $8,000, and he comes back next month and it's time to renew, and he sees my services because I made all the content, so we know that everyone that opts into, let's say, perry.com/cam is tied to me, and he sees that $20,000 in revenue, because you can track the whole thing very easily. If he sees that $20,000 in revenue came through my services, he's going to be like, well, shoot, I made $20,000 extra and I have to give up $8,000. On paper, it makes sense, right? Any of you here, if I said $8,000 and I'll give you $20 back, makes sense, right? Because there you go, right? Because you implemented that system. Is that making sense with everyone? I want to take a couple minutes and answer any questions that there might be around this system, and then I have a couple other things that I want to share that I think you guys are going to like a lot.
So, like I was telling you, I've worked with dealerships as well.
That was something that I didn't really know how to implement, like even how they were getting leads. Even though I knew some people were telling me, like, hey, the salesman would tell me, oh yeah, I got a lead and I actually made a couple of sales off of your videos. But other than that, what kind of do you utilize the software or what do you use to actually track that?
I developed my own software. Yeah. So what happens is, in Brian's scenario, I had to come up with a way to get people to give up their lead information. Any of you ever been like interested in buying a car and the last thing you want to do is surrender your lead information to a dealership? Because you know what's going to happen next, right? Ring, 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 right? That's the last thing that you want to do. So how do I make it appealing to viewers to give me their lead information? Any ideas? There's an idea. Any other ideas?
Like 10% off or something like that.
It generates a little bit more intent, for sure. You're incentivizing the customer because they're getting something. So what I went and I developed is I was, fortunately, because I sold Brian the money printer and he really liked me because of that, he connected me with the higher-ups of Berkshire Hathaway Automotive. And so I was able to go to him and I could ask him, so what does it look like as far as like lead magnets that you guys have now, right? What is a lead magnet? That's where you're attracting a lead, right? It's literally a magnet and you're pulling in lead information. Well, we have this trade-in thing, and I looked at it, I was like, dude, this is awful. This is so bad. The way that it's set up, everything about it was literally awful, right? So what I did is I found a provider of vehicle information, and I said, let's make a trade-in calculator for Brian. Because think about the intent, right? Anyone here have a car? What if you saw an ad that said, let's pick Ben, for example. Hey, Ben, I made this free trade-in calculator, and you can figure out exactly how much your car is worth. It's kind of interesting. Maybe you were like thinking about upgrading your car. Maybe you got like a 2018. You're like, man, that 2024 looks pretty good. But you don't really want to spend the money because people don't like spending money, but they like the upside that comes with spending the money, right? So the whole point is making that sales process as seamless as possible. So Ben goes, he's like, I'm actually kind of interested in seeing what my car is worth. So what Ben would do is he would see my content that says that, and then he would go to the proprietary trading calculator that I had to create because they're sucked. And then what he does is he puts in all of his car information, and he's like, all right, I made a commitment by putting in my car information. He presses submit, and then it says one last step. I need to text this information over to you. What number should I text it to? If you enter your number wrong, I can't text you the information, right? And it literally says that on the page. And then so he puts in his information, and it texts him the report within 30 seconds. And he's like, wow, now I know how much my car is worth. And now Brian has another lead. And leads are pretty hard to get when they know they're going to be sold to. So you have to sweeten the deal. Because people, again, there's nothing wrong with it because people do like buying. But you go and implement that system where you make the content, the lead magnet. Again, like I said, I literally had to develop this because they didn't have anything. But that's like the offer that I'm going to be able to go and sell to all of Berkshire Hathaway Automotive, all 91 different dealerships. And then now I need to do something with that lead, right? So I created the software that talks to their CRM so that whenever someone opts in to the lead magnet of vehicle trade-in, now it brings all their information over to the CRM and alerts their team, new lead. And then if that lead closes, or it doesn't, regardless, that lead is tied to me because it all came through my opt-in. And I have the control, because of the software I built, of how I send that information over to the CRM. So what I do is I choose to put my tag as the provider for that lead so that when it's sent into the CRM, we can look at the end of the month and see Cam sent us 400 leads. And last month, before Cam worked with us, we actually only got 500 leads. So now we did 900 leads this month because Cam helped us bring another 400. And how do you think my relationship with Brian and the rest of Berkshire Hathaway Automotive improves when that's the case? And how do you think that it sets me up as far as leverage for more? Pretty high? Doors open. Exactly. It's swinging open, actually, right? Because you're selling on the money printer. Any other questions around this system?
So are you implementing the system for free for new clients?
The first client, I'll implement it for free, and then I'll go create a case study out of it, because I cold approached Brian. I walked in, I didn't use my network at all, He didn't know who I was. I didn't know who he was. And so I'm working with him to make this happen. I spent the money to go develop that app so that I can use it to implement it to go get leads. And then once I have that system down and I have that track record and I go do it for a month, I can go to another dealership. How do you think my pitch changes when I walk into McLaren and I say, I just made this dealership an extra $300,000 last month. You want to sit down and talk? Instead of, oh, I'm going to make you 30 videos. Right? Because you're selling the money printer and not the content casino. That changes everything. Because anyone here, if I was like, I can make you another $10,000 next month, it's pretty interesting. You're open to having a conversation.
So you're saying is we create, like, implement a system that funnels into leads to their CRM or whatever CRM.
So if they do have a CRM, which most places don't, very corporate places do. Dealerships, insurance, they're corporate as well. They have CRMs. Places like coffee shops and stuff, the only CRM they have is like maybe their payment processing logs from all the coffees that they've sold, because you have to like legally, get payment information when you charge someone. But if they don't have a CRM, then what I'm saying to you guys is the CRM that we have, the white label that has the AI, you should implement that, because now you get to go sell the fact that not only are you making the content, but you're setting their appointments. And when you go into a local business and you're selling them appointments, it's a lot easier to sell appointments than it is to sell content. Say again?
Is it something like we could create ourselves to client business, like just you're selling us what you get, or is this something we can actually do?
Yeah, no, you can. I mean, if you're going to go and develop this yourself, it is going to take some time. It's taken me a lot of time. It's taken Clayton a lot of time. But it is something that you can go build and implement. We obviously have the white label available, so you could just use that. But the system that I just showed works for pretty much every single business out there. Does that answer your question? Maybe one or two more, and then I'll wrap up. Pretty clear? Sounding good? Hit me.
What would you think about outsourcing it?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, once I get the system in place for Brian, I'm outsourcing it all. The only time I'm going to go in the dealership is if I want to go in the dealership. Because it's not a business, in my eyes, if I have to run it like an employee. The whole point of owning a business is leverage. You're leveraging media, you're leveraging software, you're leveraging capital, you're leveraging labor. Those are all 4 forms of leverage. The problem is most people only leverage labor, and that's the lowest form of leverage. So when you bring in software, like AI, that's massive leverage. When you bring in media, that's really high leverage. When you bring in capital, they already told me that they're going to give me a $3,000 a month ad spend budget. So now I'm not only leveraging media, I'm leveraging capital, and I'm leveraging software, and I'm leveraging a little bit of my labor because I realize that's the lowest form of leverage. Does that make sense? Good?
I think at this point, you get the point. The Clip Curator, our business, sponsored this event and made it all happen. Obviously, it wouldn't have been possible without our amazing attendees that pulled up and joined. So shout out you guys. Shout out my amazing team. Shout out my sister behind the camera right now. Literally, the event would not have been possible without her. So shout out Carrie. And with that being said, if you want to join Leverage Creator and learn, like I said earlier, how to sell money to your clients instead of selling a content casino, and just so you know, businesses don't like buying content casinos. They actually like buying money because that's how businesses work. And if you want to learn how to do that properly, whether you're a videographer, filmmaker, content creator, really doesn't matter. We have people with an iPhone, like you saw in the event, going and using the system. Then go ahead and click the link below, the free training on how to sell your clients the money printer. Go click that right now.